Always give you thanks and glory to Word. Thank you, Hokadesh. Thank you for Spirit. Thank you for the Spirit testament you made with your bride that you wrote on this. So thank you for this narrow way. Thank you for the host. Thank you for the aletheia, the truth. Thank you for all things, good and bad, not just in times that are great, but hard times. Supposed to always give you thanks for all things. So thank you, Shiloh. The Word became flesh. That is my love. In this meat suit on this rock that I walk, still upright. So thank you, Father, for that it can still be a testament, follow after you, do what you did, conform. So have to do what the Hamashiach did. So most people are in the broad way. And he tells us to enter through the narrow. Remember, Hados, I am the Hados, the narrow way, not the broad way, is the way that leads to hell. So thank you, Father, for creating good and evil. Great songs. So always give thanks to my Agape, my love, my Shem, the one who makes me do what I do. I have my own flesh here, but, a testament of his will. So revelation, if you will. Self-will is idolatry. So Father's will is agape. Pornea, idolatry. Father's will, agape. So no free will. No free will. No luck. No luck. You've run out of luck. No luck here. So I wouldn't put a bet on that. Not even a friendly wager. So, not here to be nice, right? Let Father handle it for you. How about that? What would he do? What would Shiloh do? What would Christ do? Right? WWCD. They do their J. What would Jesus do? Which Jesus are you speaking of? There's another Jesus. Remember, Paul wrote of another Jesus. So, but to Christ, he said, many Christ will come in my Shem, in my word. Remember, he is the word. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy is the Torah. It's all spoken into existence. Law. We're not under the laws of flesh. Remember that? Not bound by contract of the Old Testament, but this new covenant that he made where vengeance, he said, let vengeance be mine. So you're to be meek. Protect your home, not weak. You can protect yourself, but careful. Came from the dirt. Doesn't want you to love dirt, but you can, even under the Fourth Amendment, protect yourself. So Title 18, deem the force necessary. Be securing houses, papers, persons, and effects. So nothing changed. Constitutionalist, not a sovereign. Only Father is sovereign. Father is the creator of all things. So the law, everything not written. So everything that ever will be. Thank you for that. It's not by chance. No free will, no luck. So once again, I thought I'd come in here for a little bit and have the discussion of silver. See if anybody had anything they can learn me about some silver. About the ratio. Price is, if you can't afford it, then what does price matter? That if you can't get it, that's unaffordable and unobtainium. So, if you've ever heard that before, unaffordable, we can't afford it. Is $130, $130 for a buffalo? Is that cheap enough for you? What is cheap? What is money? Gold and silver are money. That's God's money. Unless you're a 0-1 bit or some kind of coin token or swipe or tap, you whoever you're banking with. They're the banksters that get to print all the money printers. So price is a tool of manipulation. That's what it said, the heading. They get to print all the money. Remember, $1 trillion every 100 days now. Oh, point what 7 or something with all this. Remember, compound interest. Oh, that's out of control, spiraling. That's forward. That's the first forward. The debt is, the cycle is down. That's what's happening. Nobody wants the dollar. Everybody's ditching. Nobody wants the warp speed dollar. Sanctions, remember, are an act of war. Tariffs, embargoes, remember, embargoed Japan. So people have forgotten their recorded record of the events that took place during the Second World War, but it's okay. History tends to repeat itself. Remember Mark Twain? But with a twist. It often rhymes. So he said often rhymes, but that's okay. It's an economist said. Repeats itself, but with a twist. Who was that? That was that Mike Maloney? You know Mike Maloney? Watch Mike Maloney, Gold and Silver Bowl. So, how about Gregory Matarino? Michael Oliver? Can't remember that gentleman's name. Should have looked that up. But Bill Holter. There we go. I remember. I remember him. Stop saying you can't remember. I remember. Watch Bill Holter. Most people aren't very, not giving any economic advice to St. Charles Schwab. I'm not trying to be careful which put in your ear. Any investment advice, but the best #1 performing asset of 2025 on the pagan lunar calendar was silver. Silver's like gold now. The ratio is closing, so that's what matters is ratio, not price. Price is a tool of manipulation. Once again, they have the money printer, so are they going to turn them back on? Want to get rid of Mr. Yellowstain, Pal, Jerome? So stay in Jerome Lane. Okay, how about that? So whatever. He's the one who put him in. He's the one who put him in as head of the Fed there. But most people don't keep track of time. They think it's 2026, so that's okay. There's a lot of things that aren't out of these truths, but the whole world does it. World, you know, wide world, right? The whole wide world. Which world is that? With a O or WORLD, or you know, use vowels? WHIRLED. So which world are you in? On spinning? Are you spinning? So third rock from the sun in the third dimension. So that's the way they're heliocentric. Helio, you know, mean the sun, right? Heliocentric. They're models. Remember. It's okay. Balls in the sky. People like to worship their ball gods. Father doesn't come from balls or stars, and he created the stars. The Creator created the stars, sun and moon. So I live in a very backwards world. So, well, ask somebody who can't learn. The world of pedos, PDF files, island boys, and all this. Girls, they bring boys and girls to the island. You know where I'm talking about. This just 58-story Babylonian towers in Manhattan are decorated with Apollyon. Not like it's in your face at the Super Bowl, half satanic occult ritual show they like to do on you every. Yeah, a bunch of dudes in tights, like rainbow jerseys, Fruit Loops or whatever, chasing around, dudes beating each other up over. People used to kill each other over gold and silver, land rights to, you know, kingdoms, and now they kill each other over numbers, letters on a bunch of dudes and giants of the day, the Anunnaki, chasing each other around in tights with a low energy swine skin. Quite the, remember they call it, was that football? Wait, hold on, they call that soccer, but it's never mind. Here in Babylon, they got their, they used to let lions in there. Never mind, I'm not calling for lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, never mind all that nonsense. Like I said, they're barnyard, rituals. So careful. They like to do it at their halftime show. They do like to do the books of scripture. So, burn flags. We burn flags in here. Flags are, I would give allegiance to a flag. I gave an oath to the constitutional right of the people, not free. Dumb. Free will is not a thing. Self-will, but how come everybody's in debt? Okay, that's not a free nation, but yeah, right. You see this Gestapo like World War II over here? The brown shirts, coats out back, and now they just wear whatever, now purple, whatever. We just recently had somebody just get plugged again. So pretty soon they'll be coming for you, Remember that, they came for the Yahtzees, right? Wasn't one of those. They came for maybe the sovereigns, right? You one of those? Yeah. Didn't speak up, none of you, and that's what happens. And they came for you, and you didn't have anybody because you didn't speak up. So it's okay. The only thing it takes for evil to flourish is for good men. Remember, it's the people, men and women, I guess you're using your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Remember your Miranda rights? So STFU, they shut the, never mind. Let's try not to do that. I have no spelling and cursing and get you get you stung by the spelling bee until I vision. Remember all that? You go to school, you get stung by the spelling bee. Started cursing at you and spelling curses in cursive, and your English. Remember, you're dead. You wake in the morning and somebody dies, and you mourn until morning, and you have a wake. And never mind. It's just, remember, glossa. It's the word dialectus. So people speak a foreign, that means alien. There's no such thing as aliens. The people think there's aliens. People also think they're spinning on a ball, remember? You can't help these people. The American pie, I guess what it is. Yep. That's what it is. Flourish. Stand around and, like I said, do nothing. Silent. Go down in history as the majority. That's the reason why they're called the silent majority, but it's okay. Many are called, but few are chosen. Many enter by the wide gate that goes to hell. Broad is the way that leads to the wide gate. He wants sinners through the straight gate, which is the narrow ways to the straight gate. So, hados, that's narrow. I don't speak no hados. How about aletheia, truth there? Hokadesh, spirit. So, it's a spiritual bride. Spiritual wickedness in high places. That's what it says in Paul's reading. So, but they don't. The 13 apostles, they don't read the 13 books, this covenant he made with his bride. It's not about crackers and grape juice or Sunday. It's an everyday through the suffering, long suffering. The scripture says long. It's like a refiner's fire to be like gold and silver. How about that? Like gold and silver. You know how you do that? You put that in a long heat, fresh, like a baptism or repentance. These are all a process, nothing through the Hamashiach. Remember the suffering he suffered for his bride? Remember, you're not to be here to be loved by the world. Love is not phileo. That's, remember, he told Peter, I'm not asking you if you phileo me. And we know what's 3 times. Hung upside down, crucified, remember? Not on a cross. Nobody was crucified on cross on a tree. And remember, John on an X. And so, well, anyways, so remember, deny me. Remember, I'm not asking if you phileo me, Peter. Do you agape me? Agape is not phileo. That's the problem with people. They don't study the word, and Father is the word. The word became flesh. That's the one who hung from a tree, not on a cross. That's paganism. Catholicism, all their isms, Mormons and their temple is and their Mormonism. He warned us about many Christ, Church Jesus Christ. And which Jesus? Paul wrote of another Jesus, remember? So which Jesus do these people go after? The Mithra, remember, the one that burst in the middle of the winter on December 25th, Mass A, their Mass A Jesus, Christ Mass, Jesus Christ. Apollyon, the one locked up in the pit in Revelation, Satan, remember, like Leviathan in the garden? That's their religion, their religious Jesus. How about that? Crackers and grape juice. You know, they do the Catholicism. They're the deadly head wound that was healed. So it's not for them. Remember, many are called, but few are chosen. Few is oligos. So oligos find the straight gate. Most people go to hell. Remember, the wide, broad is the way that leads to the wide gate. He's got the key to the abyss, hell, in Revelation 9, have a king over them. The king of the abyss, locked up in the pit. Apollyon, scripture, but people don't like to read the word. They like some religious flavor, like, remember football? Low energy swine. Remember, he cast the man, said he was legion, not demon. Is the word demonion, and that's your book says devil book. Paper. Careful what's on paper. Careful what they write. You better define. Remember, he's saying the aletheia. Only through the hodos, the narrow way, will you find the aletheia, so you could be horizo, separated from his light. He pulls you horizo to his light, predetermined, selected from the foundation of the world. He already chose his bride. By self-will, they'll go to hell. That's on themselves. That's the word idolatry. Remember, he divorced his bride for idolatry. Going after gods in the sky. They prayed to Chronos, Saturn, to try to slow the sun. They perverted the calendar, aligning the New Year's in the middle of the winter. April Fools. The shepherds were in the field with the sheep when the Hamashiach was birthed, and they gave 3 gifts and 3 years old when they came into Bethlehem. Not baby. That baby manger, it's that bestiality orgy. Christ Mass. They fled that and came to the Americas, if you will. Not natives. They were wandered in. Nobody, any of these minims, any of these yuga cycles. The Dalton. How about the Ort or the Spore or the Wolf? Or, never mind. Mayans from the south. Either way, they fled that, and Father, these people were doing the same thing, like Egypt. Gods with heads of beast and man bodies and pole, all this pole worship. That's their north and south, aligning their calendar with their star, Ishtar, the star, or the sun over the tree, Moloch. That's Satan. Once locked in the pit. Massé, eat the flesh of the man. King of the Yule wheel, king of the wheel. Remember the goddess of heaven spinning the Big Dipper around the North Star? More star worship. Jeremiah, remember, tells us there are not these traditions, these ways. These heathens are dismayed at these firmament, the markers above their head, and they perverted these calendars. Remember, it says it, be able to change time. So it's been happening long before any of us were birthed. Remember. So don't celebrate, especially birth. That's the most vain thing you can do. Remember, there's only 2 birth dates in Scripture, and one Satan, one locked in the pit. Apollyon, birthed on December 25th. Remember? The Massé, Christ Mass. So Catholicism, remember? Holy Mary, all this Horus and Isis, Jesus and Mary, all this. This is the worship of, remember, Father is most high, most God, most Elohim. Elyon, he is the most. God is a title, but, you know, there's no other. There's Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Their God is 3 in 1 God. They're man, beast, and woman. That's their ritual. Christmas, or the sacrament of the Mass. They still do that at the Catholic Church, or the Saturnalia, they called it. Saturnalia. Remember, they did this as a Roman orgy, pagan festival, where they turned this into Catholicism, the birth eating flesh of man. That's why they drink my blood, vampism, and eat my body, cannibalism. That the body of this New Testament is a spiritual bride. He never meant his flesh. He is the high priest. Remember, he severed at the sign that was in the firmament, where the scepter sign, remember, the Judah, he sprang out of Judah. He was the lion, that is Leo, the king, right? Not this king. That's the king, the one that they put a crown on him and they hung him from a tree, the one with the key to the abyss in Revelation 9:11. People get this mixed up. Better figure out which Jesus you're going after. Remember, Paul wrote in his writings of another Jesus and another gospel, and there's only one gospel. You got a jot, that's the other gospel. A tittle, yod is a letter. Jot and a tittle are the smallest, like punctuation. You know, this in the Hebrew. You know, like a period and a that's what a jot or a tittle, like a comma. He said you can't even add one of those. Not even a period. Don't add. Don't take. He said, if you add, you receive of all the plagues, all the, you know, you're gonna gnash teeth. You're gonna go to the hell is what you call hell. That's what it is, whether you like it or not. Hell's not below your feet. That's not what hell is. It's not the definition. Revelation 9:11. They have a king over there. Remember the king of the abyss, Apollyon, the one that Mr. Warp Speed has his house decorated with. So that's the way it works in this modern day world. Remember, they do it during the halftime show. They love to put this in everybody's face. The red team, blue team, Democrat, Republican, this all division. It pulls people away from Father. So it's okay. Father creates evil. Isaiah 45:7. You think it's evil right now? You ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't never read the word, have you? We'll go back to the scriptures and go back to where it talks about the time of sorrows. That's where we're at. How about that? Revelation. We are in the time of revelation, which is the same definition of apocalypse. So it's the last scriptures written in that book where he said, if you add, you receive of all the written plagues in this book. And if you take away, your name will be blotted out of the book of life. The smallest yod letter or your own version, that's a pornea, idolatry, making up your own version of the scriptures. He's very adamant. Old Testament don't add, not a one sin was death. New Testament add a jot death, add a tittle death, gnash teeth. That's what it says. It's not for me to decide. I've been there. I've perverted his word. That's the word Hebrews, froward. Changed it, twisted it, add, take away. He said, don't do that. So I'm guilty. But he said, come out of her, my people. He's the word. That's the word Hokadesh. So you got to love the word, not the world. So go study. Slow down. Go unlearn, then relearn. That's how you actually learn. If you really want to learn anything, most of us were taught completely wrong. But it's not for me to decide. Many are called, few are chosen. So the word decides that. That's the one who's condemning, not I. I'm judging with righteous judgment. So we don't sup with vipers in here, just so you know. We don't do any of this silly reindeer games and do some fake, fake Jews, as you warned us of, those that say they're, these Nordic ones from the stands, all by Daniel, remember the Magi? Remember the Star of David? He's from the house of David. The scepter shall not depart from Judah till Shiloh returns. These people have no idea the celestial markers above their heads, but that's okay. I think you can go to the clock. There's a clock above your head. That's what's firmament. It's called a firmament. It has there's a North Star, a pole star. The Big Dipper does. This is part of this Yuga cycle. It's part of our extinction cycle as well. If you knew any of the paleo records as well, and all this data through the strata, all this compaction events, all these compression events. So Lachamp, Heinrichs, all these are part of the cycle. We're just in another cycle, and they're not, hiding it. You go look right now, we're in the 6th extinction event. 6th extinction event. Are you going to make it? People think extinction, they think everything dies. That's not what an extinction is. That's okay. With extinction comes evolution. People think evolution like like some kind of growing like another thumb or a kickstand. So you just sit there and look, get stuck on dumb or something. I don't know. But that's not what evolution is either. So go study it. You'll see. People have this all wrong. So everything that made it through the last 5 extinction events still here grow up. We got carrots and Brussels sprouts and lions and tigers, bears. People were here, right? We've had other hominoid species, but this modern day, Homo sapien man. So let's keep it real, so we don't do this something's coming from the stars nonsense. People want to get all this weird shape shifting and nanu, it's MAGA high priest of the Satan church, do all this satanic occult worship, and we keep it clean here. Vipers, don't sup with vipers. He tells us don't cast your pearls. So pearls before swine. So Swine. Remember, he cast the unclean truths. The man had legion. So, because the war is for the people now. Don't you see that? World War II equals World War III. Look at somebody's actually speaking some truths in here. It is. Because, remember, the government loves you. Get in your work camp. Remember, you're in bubble trouble. You were told here. We try to tell them. They're only going to put them in millimeter wave camps. Watch, soon. They'll have their little Star Wars Invader event and do their little I'll be back. Terminator robots, whatever. They're going to do whatever these want. They remember they want to go back to, 17th century, population, like 600 million or something like that. 5 is what it said on the stones. Remember their little guide that they knocked down? Didn't even get to see the old other. Never mind. All right, whatever. Let's get over it, man. So, okay, it is what it is. So they put the pedal to the metal since then. I remember I've been 12 years here, been blogging on YouTube. So not my first rodeo. So whatever, I've been trying to expose these Masons. Remember, third rock from the sun in the third dimension. So corkscrewing and spinning on a ball. So these people love it. They're the equinox, they're Ishtar, they're star worship, they're lunatics, and they're goddess. They love their celebrations. We're not celebrate anything. He fulfilled all the celebrations, all the rituals, all the fees, all the customs. All this was all prophecy. He was they ate lamb, not crackers and grape juice or little puffy marshmallow sugar bunnies. I don't want to hear sugar-coated peep out of you. Seriously, that's Catholicism. Go study. That's the deadly head wound that was healed in Scripture by Constantine when he brought in all this paganism of eating of the man orgy. That's what it is. Orgy. Christmas is an orgy. Grow up. I know. I was always a Grinch, is what they call it. Christmas killed my dad, so I didn't like it when I was young, and people didn't like that, and I wouldn't teach to my kid, and so people got mad at that, and so whatever. We're not supposed to even celebrate a single day. Especially birth. There's only 2 birth dates in all of Scripture. One of them Satan, the other one's Herod, and he was trying to kill the Hamashiach, which is Messiah, who hung from a tree, not a cross. Nobody hung from crosses. That's paganism. Once again, he was warned about imagery. So he formed the shape, but they would stretch you back on a yoke or a stock. They'd nail you to a stock like they nail people to the New York Stock Exchange now, huh? Yeah, they do. People have been taken by bond, by birth, by contract, by merchant number. Remember water law? They do it in the courts now. Remember, they court and you go ahead and I'm not going to even go there. Just whatever, I'll leave it alone. You're under, Father said, judge that shall be judged. The law that you go by some corporate law, then you're going to be judged by corporate. You're going to be a corporation. He stood up to that of the day. They threw him in jail for standing up to that halakha, their perversion of water rituals, which is by blood. Baptism is by blood, or by bapto, or baptizo by pitch, blood, stain, dye. Doesn't say water. You must be completely overcome. To be baptized is a process like repentance. Forgiveness doesn't come without being first rebuked. Father, the word rebukes us. Then we walk in repentance before anybody's ever forgiven. Others, but not Father. You better get it right. This is, you are to be forgiving. Turn your cheek. Be meek, not weak. He says, so remember, meek. So remember what we are here to do. So people aren't going to love you, and that's fine. You're not here to be loved by the world. That's not what the Scripture tells us. Remember, he said, if you're loved by the world, you'd be hated by my Father. So we are not here to be nice. That word means to be stupid, and we're not supposed to like the sin. We can hate the sin they commit. We're not supposed to hate the sinner. These people think we're under some old Levitical laws of dietary or Levite, Levitical tribe, and flesh. He said, remember, Paul even wrote in the gospel, wrestle not against flesh and blood. Remember, these all baptism is by blood, all these things. Remember, you had to have blood, over your doorway at what people now it's called Passover, not Easter. There's no such thing as Easter. Ishtar is the Semiramis, the sex fertility goddess that had sex with her son. That's where all your PDF file actions come from. Remember, Christ Mass married Ishtar, and they had a son called Tammuz. And when Christ Mass, Christ died. Christ's a pagan term, never written in the scripture ever one time. People use words, yodes, cosmos, and orally arrangements of yodes, right? They use these words and don't define anything. And so the whole world does it. Remember, they're spinning on a ball. That's what the scripture says, right? Tell me where it says you live on a planet. Where's a planet? Earth is the ruled, so you know. Earth's not below your feet. Neither is hell. Hell's not below your feet. That hell, you're taking that. You're literally out of definition. You can define words, start defining them in the dialect is the glossa, the tongue they were spoken in. There's no such thing as speaking in tongues. None of that pig Latin, psycho Babylon these people speak. Whatever, it's more English than anything. It's American is what people speak in this corporation that I live in. They don't even speak English. Words mean 10 different things. Cool. Oh, that's all right. You may get your jacket. No, man, that's fire. All these, what I'm saying? It's all watered down. It's what happens. It's what the word said. He would scatter, and he did. Their language, whether you can't even speak to each other. We're not. That's what they don't want. They want us to remember. He is the divide. Father is the word harizo. He is the separates the dark. Remember, do not think I came to bring peace. That's Antichrist. Anybody who teach you peace or prosperity gospel, that's Antichrist. He said, do not think I came to bring peace. I came to bring a sword of division. Remember, he's the one with the scepter. He became the high priest of the church, the head. We are the body. We don't eat crackers and grape juice or Cadbury bunnies or none of that. That's Catholicism. Again, that's eating flesh. Masse, it's the celebration. All that Yule worship is the spring, trying to get a better harvest, have a sacrifice to get to spring. This is all part of the Old Testament, but it's all perverted by man. Man and his fairy. Fairy's a Celtic demon. A demon is the word daimonion. Daimonion is the word, well, by this definition, a distributor of fortunes or lies to others. An idolater is a distributor of fortunes or lies to self. Pornea or idolatria. So they are in opposition. Satan would be the adversary to each other. So that's what Satan is, the one locked in the pit. Revelation 9:11, the one birthed on December 25th in the middle of the winter. But people, remember, outlawed. It's an orgy that they would throw you in jail, like Paul. Remember how many, they threw Christ, Hamashiach, Christ, a pagan term, they threw him in jail for not going by their perverted laws, right? So they hung him on a tree so he can make that contract with his bride, and that's all that this is about. It's not about religion. It's about a contract that he made. Remember that bill of marriage and then that bill of divorce? He divorced his bride that day when he hung from that tree, called out his bride as a whore in the book of Revelation because she was the mother of all idolatry. Idolatry, pornea, idolatria. Latria is to serve, and idos is our eyes, the things that we see, little things, little statues, big, tall buildings, anything you see comes from the dirt. Absolutely. He hates oppression. He does not. He's meek. He was meek, not weak. Taxation, 40%. I'm with you. What an apostate nation this corporation has become. I took a note to the right of the people, the right to choose. I'm a constitutionalist, not sovereign. Father is sovereign. Father's created this evil. He's not done yet. Isaiah 45:7. He creates calamity, chaos, evil. This is his doings. These people are doing his bidding. So Father knows. He pour out a just measure. You don't stand in opposition like the Hamashiach stood because they perverted his father's law. Remember, you forwarded my father's agape. They had perverted the Torah, Old Testament. Remember, these women were out there selling their bodies literally to feed themselves, not being released from that bill of marriage that had to be taken and nailed to a tree in a public place with 2 witnesses as he hung. Remember, his flesh, not a piece of paper, to fulfill that contract, as he did that day, divorced his bride, called her, Israel a whore, and said he would have a wedding. He would come back and receive his bride, redeem her, remember, because they are his purchased possession. He is the bridegroom, and we are the bride. He is the Lamb of God. David declared him the lamb that makes father of the ram. This is the wedding feast of the lamb, the wedding supper, but people make it a religion, so they're lost. And that's okay. Many are called, but oligas are chosen. It's not for me to decide who that bride is. That's my family. I know I'm only supposed to sup with them, though. And you'll know them by their fruit. Do not judge them by their cover. They'll be in the narrow way. They'll be sharing these truths, that the body is a temple. The Hamashiach is the high priest of the church now. Not by faith, faith without works is dead, but faith alone, right, is what saves us. And saved, when nobody's been redeemed yet, he comes back and redeems his bride at the last trump. So there is no being saved, just like there's no free will. There's self-will. There's no free will. That's blasphemy. There's phileo, but that's not Father's will. Remember what he said to Peter. So we've all been Peter. Trust me, we've all been Peter. None of us, we've all fallen short of the word because it's easier to get by in this world. But you know what? You got to stand up. This is not some sit down on your ass. It's somebody who can't learn. This is a get up every day and share these truths with others. And Father is the one who condemns them later. We just show them to the narrow way. He's the one who divides the wheat from the chaff. At this point, the word, we got to do what the word tells us. Agape, show them to the narrow way. If they're in the broad way, show them to the narrow way. That's it. That's what charity, when he says be charitable, love is charitable, love is patient, be patient with people, be patient with Father. He works he actually beats the people he loves. He beats the self out of us. We become more Father-like, Christ-like. Christ means anointed in oil. That's never a word written in the scriptures, but we'll use it for Christ's sake. The Hamashiach, they hung him from a tree, and he paid that bride price for his bride. And we need to remind ourselves what we're here to do. We're here just like him to stand against any, perversion. And if we are crucified, then that's part of exactly what he says. Before they hated me, they hated you, they hated me. You're not here to be loved by the world. And if you deny me in front of your friends and your family, look, this modern day space, I will deny you in front of Father. Father is most high. Father is the word. So it's not for me to, I'm not here to tell you who's a goat, who's a sheep. You'll know them by their fruit, right? And then we don't condemn them. We show them out. Don't sup with vipers or cast your pearls before swine. You're not going to change a goat into a sheep. It's not possible. Or a sheep into a goat. The word tells us that it's not possible to fool the elect. It's not. So by self-will, they'll have their name blotted out of the book of life. They'll send themselves to hell. So it's not name, it's Shem. That's what it says, Shem. You need to read the Testament, Old Hebrew that it was written in. Shem was the second born of Noah. Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Shem meant authority, like the Torah, Old Testament law, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. 613 statutes, commandments, where one sin was death. So all of us have fallen short of that for sure. You don't want to you need a mediator, somebody to cover you when the final trump, the great day for Oligas and dreadful day of the Lord is a pagan term, but master, when he returns, he says you can't serve two. That's what the Lord is, master. So careful when you talk about his word, because I've fallen short before and I have said things and tried to shave off and add to fluff. It doesn't need. Stick to what the scripture says. Don't frower. That's the Hebrew word to twist, add, or take away. He says that in the book of Revelation. The very last thing he said to us was don't add or take away. Even the smallest period, jot, is what the scripture says. Tittle, a comma. You can't even add a period. He's not playing. Can't make up your own version. That's idolatry. That's exactly why he divorced his bride. And they were going after Baphomet worship. They're 3-in-1 gods in the sky god. Chronos, and they thought the sun was dying and prayed to, Apollyon, their Mithra, birthed on December 25th. The same thing people are doing again today. Outlawed in this country. Fine you and throw you in jail for celebrating. Came over here because of that. Mass A. Remember the Roman Old Testament text in Latin Vulgate, and then the Catholic Inquisitions when they went out and impaled people on the stakes. And if you wouldn't go to their Masse is the eating of flesh. Their crackers and grape juice ritual they do of the eating of the body of Christ under this new covenant is a spiritual bride, a spiritual Israel, inwardly spiritual Jews. There is no physical. That was all fulfilled when they hung him on a tree. Remember, stretched him back so he couldn't breathe. Remember, they nailed him and they, remember, staked his feet, nailed him to that cleat. So the only way he could breathe was to stretch, breathe up, because he was a stretcher machine, not a cross. Nobody was hung from crosses. That's idolatry. You're lying to yourself. You were warned about imagery. That's the pagan unk. They would nail people on a tree. Remember, it tells us that in Acts. When they took him down from a tree. You need to get out of religion and just study Roman torture. They were masters at torture. That was their favorite way to crucify a man, was to nail him or stake him to a stock. As I said, people are nailed to the stock exchange, or a yoke. Like, have a yoke around your neck. He carried that, is what he carried. He tells you to carry your cross. The cross is the crucifixion, like remember, they whipped him. You're supposed to, he said, follow after me. In Matthew, are you earning your stripes? I'm a militant type of guy, veteran, in my younger days. Nonsense. Been jackboot thug, been in law enforcement, did all that. Come out of her, my people. But it helps me to know now why, he is like that. I said, remember, if you add a jot, you're going to hell. Add a tittle, you're going to hell. You don't like it, then you don't like the word. Don't worry about it. Nobody's going to force you to come to Jesus. There's no such thing as accepting Christ. There's no such thing as Christ. There's no such thing as Jesus. Those are words never written in the text. You can't accept. He said, if I didn't call out to the hearts to seek after me, not one of us, I don't care how old you think this rock is, there'll be one judgment. We're all, good and evil, believer, non-believer, will rise and be judged. That's the great and dreadful day of the Lord. That's what these people who have all this money are so afraid about, because we get to go be with Father, and Father is Hokadesh. Remember, this is all spoken into existence. He doesn't have flesh. Father doesn't have flesh. He had to birth flesh through the waters, through the Vesca Pisces. He even birthed an age in the celestial firmament. Remember, the king and the morning star birthed. Venus is the morning star, not Lucifer. Lucifer is not a word ever written one time in Scripture. There's no such thing as Lucifer. Grow up. Why do you add words? He said, don't add a jot. Now you're adding yods. A cosmos is an orderly arrangement of yods, letters, to Scripture, when he said, don't do that. So you better start studying in the text that it was written Old Testament Hebrew. Remember, froward is a Hebrew word that means to twist, add, or take away. That's what he said, do not do in Revelation, to pervert. You're perverting his word. You're cheating. Yourself is what you're doing. And that's not my, to decide. It's called righteous judgment. Not under the Old Testament laws of old house Aaron, Levite. He is the high priest of the church, Shiloh. Now, we are the body. I'm not condemning him. I'm judging with righteous judgment. I'm not under the old. Remember, honor thy father and mother in the Old Testament. That doesn't mean your dad or your mom. That's not what that is. So you better figure out who Father is. That's who you honor. Mother. And again, these aren't law. There were laws that were blotted out. Laws of flesh. Remember, he didn't abolish the law when they hung him on that tree. He fulfilled it, and he said that. Remember, it is fulfilled. Colossians 2:14, Paul's writings tells us exactly that. All laws of flesh blotted out. The handwriting of ordinances, stone tablets, the scribes scribed all this onto the rock. Remember the law, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, first 10 commandments stored within the temple. Remember, all these laws of flesh we're not under. That's why they ate lamb, not crackers and grape juice or Cadbury bunnies or candy. They baked hot cross top buns to the star goddess Ishtar, the sex goddess, had sex with her son. Catholics, preachers, they wrote the Quran. Where do you think all their kitty touch comes from? Muhammad, we know he was a pedo, married, this is all this same, comes from this under the sea worship. This abyss is what they thought the sun was dying again. They thought the constellations were going into the great sea. They didn't understand how the firmament works. Again, they thought there was a goddess of heaven spinning the Big Dipper around the North Star. That was called the Yule Festival. Christmas celebrates the sun god, birthed on December 25th. Outlawed in America, throw you in jail, remember? People doing it again. Nobody cares. The whole world's doing it. It's not 2025, so careful. They like their alien Jesus. Father doesn't come from the sky, nor did Father, remember, is the word Hokadesh. That's spirit. He had to birth a flesh vessel, remember, through the Pisces, as we all came to the amniotic fluid, to the water. He birthed, remember, Mary, not worshiping Mary. That's Catholicism. The Ankh, all that in the churches, all that's actually the edict of toleration. That's where people will tolerate anything, huh? Kind of like this wokeism they got going today. Same thing is going on. It's Romanesque in here. I don't know if that's a word, but I've said it many times. This World War II equals World War III. That's what we're seeing, right? So people aren't ready for that. That's okay. Remember, we'll see if we can push through it. Sometimes internet. We'll see if we can push through it. Sometimes internet will come up and down out here. Remember, I'm only doing it from 4G phone. Hopefully soon we'll get something in here, a little better quality, something that's hooked up to some kind of constant source, not some 4G phone. So it's me. I am a little bit stubborn on that case. I don't want the 5G whiz on my phone. No, thank you. No millimeter wave technology. No thanks. Patent by the United States Navy. No thanks. I know I'm a veteran. I know what it is. So you can do your giggity. No thanks. Nuh-uh. No G for me. Think not. 4 is enough for me. Quadra, like quantum. You want to check into the D wave and have a variable here, get your algorithm going. So now you're going to tell me a computer's alive. Get away from me. Yeah. One day at a time. It's not, this meat suit isn't a permanent ride. It's a temporary, eternal, is what we are. Spirit having a temporary meat suit experience. So I'm a spiritual being. This is a, remember, Hokadesh is spirit. So like Father, be in it, but be not of it. So, it's just remember, it's a state of mind. Remember, there's a war on for your mind. They're going to data mine you. That's why they need all that gold and silver and copper. So bring this copper around. This is the bull bear. Well, let me have that. There's the bear. There's the bear. This is from Golden State. There's the bear. And there's the bull. Bull market is when it's going up, like the silver markets right now are going up. Silver hit 116, pulled back down. Good. Shouldn't go up that fast. And there's the bear. My camera sucks. We'll be going into town in the next. It's still gonna suck because I've got a camera. I got an old phone. 4G whiz phone. G. Oh wait, no whiz on this one. It's not spewing the 5G millimeter wave all over me. So spewing like it is. What do you think? All those towers, they're like Nimrod towers to them. They love it, spewing that 5G whiz all over the place. And you guys are like, oh yeah, bask in it if you're living in the city. So there's the bull market, and the bear market. Bear market. Man, that sucks. That camera, you can't even hardly see that one. Oh, come on. Focus. There we go. There it is. So, copper. So, copper on SD Bullion right now for copper. You can order a pre-sale on copper, on a copper bar, and it's $8.99 if you go buy like 500 of them on the bank wire. I think if you just do like 1 to 20, they're $10.24. I think the last time I looked for 1 ounce of copper, when copper is $6 a pound. Anybody want to make a comment about that? Like a copper top battery, like Duracell. Anybody want to sell me on whatever you know? So that's not even Canadian dollars. It's more expensive for you, Sabrina. I don't want to hear it. And this price, you get, oh, you got to pay Canadian dollars, CAD. Ooh, those are more dollars. Sabrina's paying like probably, let's see if it's probably 15 up there. All right, just in time. Hope somebody came in here and got it before the sale went off. Yes, and look at the price of them right now on there, on GSM Golden State Mint. Their price now for one is $5.19, and they went out at $207 on sale. $207 on sale. $207 minus if you bought, so. What a beautiful, and I'm not into little shiny things. It's okay. We can enjoy some things. This ain't this idol don't mean nothing to me. It's just, but this is extra oil. Okay. What a nice mint, yep. $2.07 if you bought, $199 or more, you got free shipping. So you can cost that average that in. And so if you bought enough, you got them for $2.07. And then after the sale, they went up to $4.99, and right now that same one under 20 is $6.14 for the same. Oh yeah, all that I looked on there, and everything was more expensive than the 1 ounce. The best way to buy it through Golden State was 1 ounce, and still is, guys. They are cheaper right now than JM. JM gives me a veteran discount, but JM is making people wait until March 13th, I believe, or 23rd or something. So you're going to wait a couple months now just to get it in your hand. They're pre-selling this. There's nobody. APMEX doesn't have any copper. I know who came up and bought it. The government made copper and silver a critical metal, brothers, sisters. They ain't playing. Mr. Warp Speed said in, national security, Redskins. So yeah, exactly. Took mine forever to come. And they are going to send it. No, it's all right, whatever. But thank you, Father, for we got Ryan was here. He got to get. We had a couple people before the sale went off, and that is incredible. Even before you got it, the price more than doubled almost. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty incredible before they were ever shipped out, because if you got them at the sale, and look at them now. So there's only 2 people online selling. Well, it's pretty. I think they make Rose Hill with this. Remember, don't they make Rose Hill gold? Actually, they use this. They blend this with a lot. The copper, a quarter is 91% copper. Has a 75% pure copper, core. A quarter or a dime. So save those. Don't ever go to the car wash. Go to the laundromat. Get some. I got a silver quarter. Hey. The first time I went there. So yeah, make rose gold and some of the other, Black Hills, and some of these are copper blends, which is used in a lot. Copper is a very important metal, brothers and sisters. The reason why the government, we all saw them going to make it silver a strategic metal. That was talked about for a long time, making silver a strategic metal, but they added silver and copper. Remember, the mint on November 6th was told by Warp Speed, stop minting the penny, right? Makes no sense. American, but I can't stand what this constitutional right has been taken to these people. But November 11th, they made copper and silver a critical metal. National security, Trump came and said about silver. So careful. You know, these people will take this metal and they use it for their data mining stations. Now, they wire all the data mining stations with copper, but they actually use this. Like if you take colloidal silver, these data mining stations, brothers and sisters, eat the silver up. It doesn't stay in there where you can go recover it. It eats it up. That's why they need this metal so bad. I think that's why we're seeing this price action in this market. People want the physical. Remember, people were calling for delivery in December, which is not a delivery month. How many months have they been doing this? Go see Bix Weir at Road to Ruta. He'll get you all the graphs and I'll show you where all the money's at. The big, you know, the public hasn't got in on this yet. Wait until we reach unaffordium, and how many out there right now can afford to pay $300, you know, or $130 right now for a buffalo off Amex? Are you priced out in the market yet? Is 150 too steep? 200? You know, it could be 300 by March, April, May, June. Who knows? Look at May today. It made movement from 103 to 116. I made a video on what is that. Didn't close at that, pulled back down, but still, you know, look at the price action. $10 days. I was talking about moving within a $10 range. Dollar days, $10, $5 days. Saying we'd go up and down in that range. That thing just taking off like a bat out of hell, right? It is. Careful. Those markets that go up like that are going to come back down, but it just could be repricing. A new reality. It happens before. Look at the history of lead. Go look at copper. Same thing with copper happened. It just we really this thing has been taken silver for 100. They took us off the gold standard, or put us on the gold standard after taking us off the bimetallic, where gold competed against silver in the 1700s. So over 180 years, they've been suppressing the price of this white, they call money, the white metal. Gold is the yellow metal, but this white metal, which was valued 1-to-1 at the time of Rome, they valued the same. So that's why I have a channel that's called Silver's Like Gold that's going to show you the ratio is going to close. I do think there will be a day where you can trade this silver for 2 ounces of gold, or maybe 3 ounces, because this is used in way more products. It's way more valuable in my eye. I'm not saying gold isn't extremely valuable. It's shiny. It doesn't go away. You can't get rid of it. You know, they mine 97% of it, but there's a lot more gold on this rock than they're telling you about, okay? That's why they made their reserves. Think about all these reserves that this government has, and go look at what happened with, you know, in 1911 when they were doing discovering the Grand Canyon. What about Chocolate Mountain, you know, military base? Go look and discover. There is a lot of gold. I'm not saying there's silver and not out there, but all the easy picking silver, the God's ratio is 8-to-1. For every 1 ounce of gold that comes out of the ground, 8 ounces come up out of the ground with it. Okay. That's God's ratio. Everybody can only have 8 ounces each. That's it. If you have 9 ounces, you've got somebody's silver. You got somebody's ounce. So, do you know people got safes of these things, you know? So it is a metal that is going to have to, if you're going to go into a future with AI and data mining and Bitcoin stations and robotics and quantum computing and all this tech, you're going to need this. Your phone swipes, pinches up and down because of silver. We wouldn't be on this live stream if it wasn't for silver. This is probably the most valuable metal. It's the most conductive, most reflective metal. You know, the most pure thing on this rock is water. What do they purify water with? Silver. That's right, brothers, sisters. So silver has its place, okay? Pay attention, not the price. If you don't hold it, then you don't own it. If you don't have any, when it gets to $300, then you're probably not going to be able to be in the market then anymore. You're going to have to go back to copper, right? Well, they snatched that all up too. There's little bits out there right now with Golden State Mint. They're an actual mint company that sent it to me. They did. So there is some copper out there. You're going to pay for it. Scrapping is a great way to go. People are making a good living right now in the scrap yards. And that's a hard but a great, honest living. People just let stuff go to the waste, throw it in the landfills. It's good for people to get that stuff up and be reused. And that's my life. Reduce, renew, repurpose, rejuvenate, revitalize. I am that guy. Everything on this property is darn such. It's not new. It's all had many. Those cabins, every one of these boards is from a different location. Somewhere tells a different story. You know, my walls talk to me if you had walls like I have. Get it? Well, they tell a story. They're from a different place. But anyways, that's the way so I like the idea of repurposing. I think it makes Father happy when we don't just be gluttonous and just keep consume, obey, and just no. Reuse. We used to take and fix things and just didn't go to the store and buy a new one because the last one broke. Why did it break? Well, you put cheap ass gas in there, put ethanol in it, non-ethanol, put, racing gas in there, aviation fuel, it will stop, people don't try to take care of anything anymore. Remember, it's consume, so people forget to put away little things like this and take the extra time. And that's why it's God's money. It stores value. And, most people don't do that. They don't even have the time to think about it. So they clipped the penny. I came in this ministry and told everybody, save your pennies. Now I'm telling you, you can still get copper. A quarter is 91% copper. Stop thinking it is a silver shiny. That's nickel. And I told you, save your nickels too. Nickel is what makes stainless steel stainless, which gives it that antimicrobial, antibacterial property as well. Just like silver, like, brass or copper. Why do you think they drink out of copper? You put silver in your water filter, like a gravity filter, and it'll keep you from having to scrub your filters. It doesn't get all that, fuzzy and slimy. It stays clean. It's beautiful, that it has so many medicinal properties. I ain't trying to anybody to get rich quick. You better have some food, better have a way to protect it, water filtration, but it's God's money. They can't hack your gold and silver. They're taking everybody to some new tokenized system. Hey, if a Bitcoin could be worth 114,000, why can't silver be worth 114,000? I'm in the camp of $5,000 silver. You like that? $5,000 silver. Because I do, again, know that silver and gold were 1-to-1 at the time in the 12th century. Not one had more value. So silver ratio is everything. It was 15-to-1. If you had a silver quarter right now, it's worth like $18, $19. It is. And remember, silver and gold value 1-to-1. These are always, 15-to-1 is when it was in as a quarter or a dime or a half, 50-cent piece, pre-64 in America. That's what it's worth today in metal price of the content of the silver. So, like I said, people aren't paying attention. This market's a teeny tiny market. Most of the industry is taking the metal. 80%, consumed by industry. There's been a 200 to 300 million ounce deficit for the last 6 years since COVID. Means there's more being consumed than they can mine. 200 to 300 million ounces every year, and that keeps adding up. And they're making more and more tech, more and more dynamites. There's putting one in this little tiny town that I live in out here that eats up a ton of silver, kind of like a smart missile. 500 of these, strap a monster box to make that tip that go to where it needs to go, land on its target. They'll throw their gold and silver in the streets. They already are on people's heads. This country's been doing it for decades. Don't act like you think it just because it meant that you're not going to be able to eat it. That's not what the scripture's telling us, is it? They'll throw it in the streets. Well, it will have, you can't eat it. If you're laying next to a 500-ounce bar and you have no food, no beans and rice, you're not going to want to be eating that gold, are you? So the scripture does have value, but remember, they already are throwing it in the streets on people, monster boxes at a time. When they do that with the silver monster box, it's all gone. It blows it all up. Maybe there's some nano silver there, so they can spray that in the sky on us. Oh, they use it up there too. They use silver in everything. They weave it into Band-Aids. It's used in photovoltaics. That's solar, medicine, medicinal, colloidal silver. It's used as an antimicrobial and antibacterial for thousands of years. This is not new. This is something that's been used since time and memorial, millennia, whatever you want to call it. So it only since 1971 have we been had an actual currency, because currency doesn't store value. In order to be money, it has to be tangible, it has to be physical, has to be dividable, you have to be able to make change, and it has to be a store of value. So paper doesn't store value. Like dollars, they keep printing more dollars, so they're printing your purchasing power away. This holds purchasing power. And this actually, silver has been pulled down now for 180 years. You wait till it comes back and it springs back. You ain't seen nothing. So I don't care if it goes back down. Good. Back the truck up. If you have the ability, you're supposed to buy the dips. You don't buy at the shoulders, you buy at the knees, the hips, the ankles if you can when nobody wants it. That's when Pastor was telling everybody, True Bible Television, get in at 12. It hit 116 today, and that's not the price, because remember, it's 130 if you actually want to own it. You want to have oil instead of just buying the stock where you don't get your hands dirty. You want the barrel, the oil, the storage. You're going to pay extra. Costs more to have the physical metal. When I say 116, that's not the price of it. It costs you more to get that, just so you know. Just like it says, oh, well, it's $4.99. No, that's if you buy 500. If you don't buy 500, it's $6.14 around. If you buy 1 to 20, you get them down on a bank wire. You got to read the fine print. So there's always a cost of doing business. Remember that. So that's the way it works. That's the way my dad. This is just a lesson. I don't care about money. I mean, like I said, I hope it goes up real quick and I can spend it and put it all into the ministry. Can get a really nice building out here, have it on the grid, and gravel the driveway. I'll be set. I don't care if I have a single, ounce, left. Maybe some change. I have some change or something, some dimes or something. Yeah, a couple dimes left, something, or something, but Father will provide, I'm sure. I'm willing to hold on, to what I have now. I don't have enough to, bark at, but from what I've had past. But hey, it is what it is. Father will provide, and I'm sure that there's going to be some pretty big price moves in the next 3 to 6 months. So I'm not going to try to hold. I'm hoping I have enough by the time the weather breaks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We talked about, Sabrina, about $2 dimes. Now they're $5 or $6 for that dime, Sabrina. $6 for that dime. Now, $6.30 is what I paid for those last dimes that I bought. I've taken any money kind of, that I have and put it at, to try to, because I know it keeps going up. And they're probably more than that right now. They actually are, because they're 7 something a dime now. They're 7 something a dime. So remember, somebody gave me a donation and I bought those dimes for $2 a dime. Back when somebody gave a donation to the ministry. I'm like, hey, I'm socking this into something I can't spend. I don't want to spend the money the ministry gives, whatever, and so I put it into something and look at, already a $5 gain per dime. So, it's doing what it needs to be. So with the mining stock, which I'm hoping is something that I bought and invested in, that has substantial gains. And I've looked at the chart. You got to remember, everything there's Fibonacci cycles. There's ceilings and floors, and these things are cyclical. So these miners have been way up here, priced way up here, and they've come down way here, and they've been in this low range right now. They haven't even come back up to this. So if I just hold on, and even though it shoots out there, that mining stock hopefully will cover it. Maybe I can still have a little bit of silver left if I'm patient, but I don't want to wait too long, because things are happening quick in this nation. I don't want them to be trying to come get me out of here, because I don't have a physical address. Nothing wrong with living off grid, but I think sometimes you got to endure to the end. You've got to do, like I said, give unto Caesar what is to Caesar. And I think this is his time. You know me, I'm not a put my head down. I'm not a bootlicker. I could have got a single misdemeanor and never went to jail. And I knew jail was coming, and I still did it anyways. Not out of pride, because that's what you do. You stand against the beast. So I could have, remember, none of that. Wouldn't be in none of this right now. Could have saved all the gold and silver. I don't care. None of us a waste. I'll get my treasure on the other end of this lifetime. Hallelujah. Thank you, Shiloh, for that. He'll be covering me for my sins. Thank you, Father, for sending me to jail with a broken back, where they wouldn't even give me a flipping extra blanket, because I wouldn't take their Tylenol 3, their narcotics. So it is what it is. Father puts me through the fire. It's Father doing it. I'm not mad at anybody but myself. I'm hard on myself. So I want to, I don't want this to be in vain. I want to serve the purpose of Shiloh. I want to be a living testament. I want to be a walking revelation, a living apocalypse. That's how I live. It's the way my life is constantly, so it works that way for me. as long as, like I said, as long as I'm learning something, Father's helping me to move forward. I don't care how many times he kicks my teeth and knocks me down. I still love him and get back up on my horse and ride. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to ride till I die. So, yep. I think it's already hit 13,000 a ton. So, I think we'll see a massive spike in we already have. I encourage you right now to go to JM Bullion and look at their copper prices for a single ounce. $10, and you're not getting it till March. So what do they know? What do they know? This is the bull bear round. The bull cycle like we're in right now with the precious metals. Gold hit $5,100, and the bear cycle, which when things do go down, nothing should go up forever. Things should pull back and reprice, and then steady Eddie light gold. So what a beautiful round by Golden State Mint. Really appreciate that company to take the time to mint all this copper and get the supply out there right now. When somebody came and scooped up all the data mining, I'm sure it was Amazon, Bezos, maybe it was Musk with all his rockets with Starlink, and we could have been anybody in the market. It's a teeny tiny market, brother, sister. Like I said, this is set to go far beyond and it overshoot at this point. You take and you pull a ball underneath the water, you take that down underneath the water. The further you take it down, inertia, it's going to come up higher, it's going to come out of there. And so I do feel, as well as if you listen to Michael Oliver, that this will overcorrect, because the general public hasn't even gotten in on silver yet. Wait till the panic ensues. That's the problem that I'm having. They're priced out of the market, and now it bums me out because there's hardly any copper for everybody to get. Yes, there is if you orders. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not telling you to, waste any money. Quarters, there's no cost. You get quarters, you can spend them. That's not, this you got to spend money to get in. So I'm not telling anybody to buy this kind of, but already bought it for $2 and now it's $6. So, tripled in price, 200%, gain. It's insane. So now it's even more to buy these, and you got to wait till March to get them. So this time's coming. I talked about people turning over couches, taking apart washing machines, jumping into wishing ponds. Remember? Seriously, we talked about it. We're here. We're almost to the point where it's really going to get to be a scrapper's world. Not Mad Max, but I talked about the time on this ministry. I did. I warned you of this day where copper got real expensive and, hard to get to. Not that it's not out there, but it takes work to get it out, like e-mining. So it's available. You should be putting it up now. Switches, there's a lot of silver out there too, out in the electronics world that are still to be had. E-waste, there's actually more per pound per, above ground silver than there is in the ground, the ratio, but they haven't found a way to efficiently get it out of there yet. They've figured out how to get the gold out of there, but to do the silver, it's a different process, obviously too. But but we'll get there. I think we're getting there. Silver is going to kick in a lot of that type of mining. People aren't going to mine. I had some companies, all the names for them already put aside because I knew this time would come. I should have been doing it, but I just get too busy doing other things. Could have people throwing in phones, giving me free gold and silver. Here, recycle your phone here, be green. Especially during the he let the Biden administration, remember, with their windmills and all that nonsense. So it's okay. America makes no sense, remember, but you can still get quarters. Quarters are 91%. 91%. A quarter is 91% copper. That's a copper. Uh-oh, where'd it go? I have to get my light here. So, if you're in the U.S., remember, dimes are the same thing. Dimes are the same thing. 91% copper. This is almost just like having this without the coating. The clad is copper as well, but 91%. The other is nickel. Yeah, mining. I keep telling you, mining, and get all this stuff. Start scrapping this stuff. That's a miner. When you're scrapping, you're mining. Scrap mining. Think about it that way. Go get copper. People are making a good living out there right now, Nathan. People really are. There's people out there that can make their way around and are not stealing people's stuff. Ways to recycle. People will recycle. They will, give their stuff for cleanup, and steel and scrappers can make a good living right now. They are. And I think the miners are going to probably being pretty well as the, silver miners and the gold miners. When prices rise like this, it opens that capital and gives them more for discovery and testing and expansion, better equipment, more efficient mining. And this will open up, because it's getting harder to mine these minerals, And this is the age where we, for a long time, have just been gnawing at it, all the low-hanging fruit, chewing it up, so yeah, the money will pour into the sector. Here in America, the president made some executive order, put something like $221 billion or something. They're making a huge refiner here in the U.S., somewhere back east. This is the age of the golden age. This is the age of clay, brothers, sisters. Scripturally, we're in the age of clay. Don't fool yourself. We're in the age of clay. Okay, but Trump called it the golden age because he's talking about these minerals. Remember, going to put you in a golden dome too. So careful. Bubble trouble, work camps. Yep, millimeter wave camps. You're gonna love it. They're gonna bring it from above and below, so you're not gonna get away. It'd be like Hunger Games. Shouldn't laugh at it, but anyways. So, put away something that doesn't cost you money. I don't want to see you put yourself out. That's not what I'm trying to tell you. Collecting those quarters for now, you can get at drive-throughs. You can get at laundromats and car washes. We're gonna have a change thing, and normally nobody's there. Don't empty their whole machine, but I bet you there's enough in there for you to get. One time I went to the laundromat, got $100, and I got one silver quarter. I was stoked. That's like $18 right now. So. Hey, and all that money is just sitting there. I bet you I got a quarter in there that's worth $18 because it's some special quarter that I don't know what all those are. I don't do. That's called numismatic. So remember, don't throw away your change. Get one of those phone apps and scan every piece of change you have. Don't throw away anything. No nickels. Don't throw away 82 and older pennies. And you might as well get those quarters because they're 91% copper. They're almost like a penny. 82 pre-82 penny. Think about it. So that's a lot more copper in them than I thought. Again, I knew they had that core, but that cladding on them is copper and nickel. And I've been trying to get you to save your nickels too. Nickels is what makes stainless steel stainless. So just want to share with people to try to give you, things that, banks they won't let me buy from my little bank much. I tried, with nickels, and they kind of cut me back, but I tried with being a non-member in Bend, Oregon, the town, this has got big banks there, and they won't do business with you anymore if you're not, they won't exchange money with you if you're not a member anymore. Now, I don't know, some state to state, because people still coin roll. I'm not saying, but, use these things while you can, A 50-cent piece is the same thing, brothers, sisters. That's 91% copper. That's a big ass, copper penny. So one day I do think the copper will outprice what's in a 50-cent piece, what's in a dime, and what's in a quarter. The copper in it will be worth more than the quarter itself. And that's probably when they'll pull all the change, brothers, sisters, will be pulled off remember, they already did it. It's 14.3 cents to make a nickel. How come they ain't clipped the nickel yet? They are. Remember, they're giving everybody nickels instead of pennies. I know. I've been a salesman. You ever heard that term? The first person to talk loses. How about $1,000? You do it for that, right? Well, the lady at the counter, she said, "Hey, my change was 2 cents." She didn't want to give me I'll give you my 2 cents. She said my change was 2 cents, and she didn't have it. She wanted me to tell her it's okay. Now, if my wife's name was Penny, I would have said years ago, yeah, I don't want it. Thanks for reminding me of my, ex-wife. But I sat there quiet. And she did it again. Well, I don't have the 2 cents. I said, she said, would you like a nickel? I said, well, sure, I'll come up 3 cents. So you can only do that so many times as well. The whole rounding up, like that can't work. You know, the business is going to lose. Think about what I just said. I've seen it before. You know, 4 cents, give a nickel, 3 cents, 2 cents. Anybody want to know? Hey, nope, no more pennies. So those nickels are going to run out before you know it. There's a lot of nickels in circulation. I know that, but you can't keep doing that with the nickels. And they'll you know, it's gonna, there are people are catching on. And nickel is what makes stainless steel stainless. So you can't have war without nickel. Silver is the bank killer, you know, but you know, and the war machine, the lifeblood of the military industrial complex. But remember, these are things you get your hands on right now, you know. Yeah, see what I'm saying? So they got it worked out. The house always wins in some cases, but I don't see it that way. Just by average, you know, it could any of those 1 to 4. You're giving the nickel away. You're losing 1 cent, 2 cent, 3 cents, or 4 cents. Doesn't seem like the house ever going to win if you got to give the nickel up. So it's what it is. It is what it is. But right now, nickel is valuable. And again, it's something that makes stainless steel stainless, and so they need to put it on all their Terminator robots, like they sent to Venezuela. Maybe ish theory, huh? Hey, got to protect the channel there. So they're going to be stainless if you want to put them in a salty environment. You know, salinity is high. You want to have wet, maybe in the marsh, or maybe in the cold too. You know, that's a little bit of protection. But yeah, stainless steel is pretty important, you know, and food industry as well. So if you like your food cooked in stainless, you know, and back there, and your bread, you know, maybe your, all right. But either way, you know, these are all minerals that are critical. Again, they put copper on the critical minerals list as well as silver. So don't think the copper is going to be lasting too much longer at the prices it is as well. I think they'll far surpass what people are paying right now. And remember, I already got, you know, some of these at $2 and they're already $6. So you go on JM right now, they can pre-order you some bars, I think, for $8.99 if you buy 500 of them, I think. If not, they're $10 an ounce. 16 ounces in copper. So how are we doing, Kit Kat? We're having the discussion of precious metals, God's money. So it's that time. Silver hit 116. When is the general public going to get in on it? Probably when it's too late and it's too expensive. That's the time that's going to become what's known as unaffordium. How many ounces could you afford to buy at 131 right now for a silver buffalo? Silver buffalo is $130 right now on APMEX. $130 if you buy 19 or less. 130 each. How many of those, you know? Is 150 too much? Is that too cheap for you? Where's your cutoff? Where you're like, okay, I better stop trying to buy silver and start looking at some copper. Maybe Pastor's right on the copper. So, I was already correct on that, and look at what they did. So there's still some out there. I told you ways to get it, ways to get your hands on it. So there are many ways if you start looking at videos on how to scrap it out of electronics, appliances. I mean, you'd be amazed at how much copper is still out there if you were resourceful. So, you know, it's a time where he wants us to have, you know, things for our children's children. So those are stores of value. I think these things are, again, they're not supposed to shape your life. You're not supposed to fall in love with shiny dirt, but you have to have extra oil. And I do believe, again, that you know, come out for my people. That's a great way to get out of their system right now. You know, secure your purchasing power. They sold Christ for 30 pieces of silver. It is God's money. It always will be. It's never gone to zero. So thank you, Father. It was 1 to 1. Now I think silver's worth more than gold. So, but I'm in that camp. So $5,000 silver. Are you ready for $5,000 silver? What are you going to do with your silver when it's $5,000 an ounce? if gold's 5 and gold hit 5,000, and I'm sure gold's going to keep going up, so silver will catch it at one point in time, because that was what the ratio was during the time of Christ. Okay, so I don't make predictions. I tell you what the historical, celestial, scriptural records tell you, and you discern for yourself. You're supposed to discern everything I say. Remember, he said, "Be sure no man deceive you." So discern all things. Well, again, not giving economic advice, but hallelujah to those people who were bought in at 12 and 13 and 15 and 19 and 20, and even the ones who are reaping the benefits for taking mine. Hope they're enjoying it. Maybe they saved it and they didn't spend it yet. Now they're going to spend it. They probably spent it already. But anyways, no third-party risk if you don't tell anybody where your gold or silver at. So nice thing about it, they can't flate it away and they can't hack your gold and silver. How about that? So right now, I still think that I'd still think silver is a good buy according to ratio. Okay, and I'm not giving any economic advice, but right now I would go to every time I would go to some laundromat and some car wash, and I would get $300 worth of quarters. You know, I don't take that much from it. They probably don't have that many. You know, $100 worth of quarters. Kit Kat copper, because it wouldn't cost you anything to buy into that. Zero. It wouldn't cost you anything. You could spend those quarters. Okay. One way to get copper right now. If you have any extra funds, there's a way to buy in without any cost. You have to go get it with the gas if you did it when you're out or whatever, run an errand or something. Washing machine places, you know, laundromats. Now some give tokens. You have to find, you know, they're out there. Somebody turned me on to this, but copper is the next one that's going to be just okay, and car washes too will have that. So just bring a jar, put them in there. I got one the other day. I went and was going over to Eugene, and I got $100 worth of quarters, and I put it in $20 bills because I went by, and of all places, it's just there. I wanted a coffee. I don't know why I wanted coffee. And I went by McDonald's. I would never eat at McDonald's, but it was coffee. So I was like, I know people who have some coffee that say their coffee's not that bad. And I know they do that smaller. So I asked for change, and she said, I can't give you change. She said, but remember, there's a really nice laundromat over there. So I went there before the little door opened up, okay? And nobody looked at me, and I knew I was on camera, and I'm not stealing anything by getting change. It's okay. It's not against the law. I got $100 worth of quarters. I got one silver quarter. So that's kind of neat to know that they might not be checking there, okay? And so do the ad. It's $18 for that silver quarter right now, okay? So, hey, that's a good come up. See, I made money on that trip, right? I was going that way anyways. I went back again, and the door was open, and I got $80 for the quarters, and I think the lady was about to mean mug because she's like, you know, that's a lot of quarters. The 20 takes a little bit to come out, but you know, that's fine. I don't think it hurt them in any way, shape, or form. They can get more quarters from the bank, and I didn't get any silver in that. But there are quarters, if you'll listen to me, that are worth a lot. There's a lot of variables. So get your phone out. Don't ever throw away a quarter because it's copper for one. Secondly, you want to go through, there are some quarters that are worth $1,000. And it's not like buying a lottery ticket. There is probability that you've got some of these quarters. 1964 or older, Kit Kat, anything 64 or older. And there are proof quarters too. Dimes and halves, 50-cent pieces. Now, nickels are just 42 to 45. They took the nickel out and replaced it with 35% silver, but nickels aren't, you know, just put those to the side. They're not smelting. They don't want them right now at the refiners. Even at the price, they're not even taking 925. They're not even taking constitutional silver right now. So, okay, you'll know them. They have a tone to them. They look silver on the side. But hear me out. Every other one of those quarters is valuable because it is a copper quarter. Stop thinking of it as a silver quarter. It's nickel on the outside and copper. It's 91%. So you should have already been saving your 82 pennies, and there are not much pennies going around anymore. So save the quarters and the dimes. If you get change, listen to me, if you get change and you're a cash buyer like me, who don't really use the plastic very often, ask for it back in quarters. Now I figured out how to do it now without even having to do that, but might as well. I got laundry to do. Oh, okay. And they'll normally, I went to Walmart the other day. I didn't want to go there. I had to get some paper plates. I asked for $1.25 in quarters. Can I get that? I don't know if I have it. So car washes still have them. There's places that aren't checking. Probably arcades. There's an arcade. You could probably go in there and get some couple, out of there, and it's not going to put them out if you went in and put $50 or something worth of quarters out of their machine or whatever every once in a while. So get those quarters. Get your phone app, and there are quarters that are worth thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars, $20, $50, $80, $100. And if you figure out which ones are valuable, go buy more weight. Get some silver, buy a little tiny speck of gold or something, 1/10 of an ounce, a gram or something, get some exposure to the gold market. I'm not giving you any economic advice, but there are ways, again, to get yourself into these markets. Silver, right now you can scrap silver out of such thing as circuit breakers. Those got like 1/10 of silver in a circuit breaker, the ones that go up and down, 1/10 of an ounce. It's almost $10 in a circuit breaker. Think about that, So Jesus doesn't love me. So, which Jesus do you speak of? There's more than one Jesus, so Remember, he said many. Oh, I need to feed my puppy dog, guys. I do. I need to feed my puppy dog. So, I love my puppy. Hold on. You're the only one that didn't get fed. We didn't put the ladies up, so. I got to put the birds up, too. So you have to pardon my momentary lapse of reason here. We'll be back in a flash. All right, the ladies are up. I had to get their water because it's getting frozen out there at night. It was 0 degrees yesterday. I think it was 1 or 2 today. I'm going to make sure the ladies got fresh water. So, what are you doing, puppy? Puppy's over saying hi to the dad. What are you doing, my kid? Mr. Bone Bone, Mr. Bone. I love you, good boy. You were a good boy today. You're such a good boy today. You're the best kid there ever was today. Hey, not with your nose. He's got a nose like a jackhammer. Oh, he's gonna get crazy. He's gonna be crazy boy. Oh, you're a crazy kid. You're being crazy. Boy, I love him. I love that Bone Bone. All right, well, where's the top? What's the top price for yeah, he's got a few names. His name is Yotter. He was born as Yotter, but he is Bone, and he has some brown back legs. Look like he's wearing a brown pair of pants, so we call him Pants. Pants, Yotter boy, Bone Bone. He's got a couple tags on. No kisses. So he's a special boy. He really is. He's such a good boy. He's a lover. He's a lover. Would you stop being such a weasel? Can he weasel your way? He just likes to try to weasel his way in there. So stop doing that with your nose. Stop doing that with your nose. Stop doing that with your nose. Oh, yes, you got the nose of a, yep. Seriously, his nose got I don't even know the pounds of pressure. He's a dingo, so he can, remember, that nose is his asset. Huh? He loves the dad. No kisses. No kisses. He'll try. He'll try. No kisses. You love the dad. You love the dad. You're a good boy. Where's your ears at? If you're talking about him, he don't put his ears up. So. Yeah, his ears. He's got ears. Nice. He's a good kid. Couldn't ask for a better puppy. Thank you, Father, for still having my Bone. We miss the big guy, but it's okay. It's okay to miss the big one, huh? We miss biggest sometimes, don't we? But we try to make up for it. Hang out a lot. So we do. We hang out. He goes on all the rides with me. He doesn't really, I don't go anywhere without him now. Yeah, he goes with Dad everywhere Dad goes on. He just go with Dad. Just hanging out with the dad. Always with the dad. So, you're a good boy. No kisses. No kisses. All right. So, what do you think? Where's the price action going in silver? In your humble opinion, everybody's got one. You know what they say about opinions, right? Learn me something about silver there, ministry. Give me something. Put something in my eardrum. Teach me something about something. I'm always in a study mode, so can you learn me? Do you really think we're 93 million miles away from the sun? Oh, okay. Random question there. We used to be able to do polls, but now we can't do anything anymore. Good for you. Outstanding. Not lucky. Father knows where the dice will land, but good for you. It kind of was telling everybody to buy it when it was, $17. I remember when it was $7, so. But good, outstanding, good for you. And now, remember, it's never wrong to pull profits. And if you can get your original investment out of it back, anything in, over it, try to remember it's never wrong with taking that. If it reaches that point and you have extras, then you can use that. I think, hey, that's okay. It's all right. It's not easy to come up with any extra ducats. I know. But I know there's some that did, and I'm hoping people are seeing, right now it's not as easy to sell. Think about it. It's not easy for these people who are buying and selling these. They could go down quick because it's gone up quick. So uh, um, just I try to teach people to cost average. You buy the dips, buy it when it's down. And right now I think it's down, but it's not. I know it's up, but it's been down for 180 years. It's been suppressed. So I think we're just look at the ratio. Think about the ratios. Now that you have some, stop looking at the price. Price is irrelevant. Soon maybe get so expensive that most people be priced out of it, where they can't buy anymore. So cost average is what you do. You're never supposed to max out your credit card. It was never that. It's a cost average thing. When you can afford some, maybe there's some things that you had, video games, controllers, systems, whatever. We all got stuff we like to collect. I'm collecting a lot of things in my day. So, pull something that you're not using, and that's what I told you. Have a garage sale. I've been trying to tell people this is all rigged backwards. This market, when it comes out of it, it's gonna. So, is this a short because the industry wants it? I believe so, and the industry will bid this up a lot higher than 116 it hit today. Didn't close at that, but it's gonna make its moves wherever it finds the actual real market value. And you can always find that, because if you trade that with somebody in a free market, you trade your silver for a horse, you trade your silver. The whole idea to me is never to trade it back for dollars. I've had to do that once and it hurt. Would have liked to have it now, but that's okay. It was there. It was liquid. It serves its purpose. It'll hold its wealth through generations if you want to save it and never get rid of it. There are some people who will never sell their precious metals ever. And that's fine. That's their business. But remember, there comes a time where you're going to have to pull some profit. And it's not wrong. Go buy that truck you wanted. Buy a house if you had enough, depending on what your investment, buy the things that are, and you may just trade it for that silver, because I think when the silver market's hot, but try to remember, I think we're just getting started in the bull market. It already is 130, Sabrina. This is $130 to buy this right now. Okay. Today, right now, if you look up on AppMex, and even more for you because you live up north, it is $130 to buy this Buffalo round. Right now, look it up on AppMex, $130. Silver is $130 an ounce right now. Don't fool yourself. It's not this paper price. Paper is, remember, price of tool and manipulation. I want to try to bring you into this, how this works, as quick as I can. So you understand, they've been dumping what is called a commodity exchange, papers, put stops, go long, short the market. These are derivatives. They can dump them onto the market to drag down. They put $1.4 billion. Remember, silver got up to like 80 some bucks, and they dumped $1.4 billion worth of paper contracts to bring it down to like 72 bucks. But then remember, it shot right back up. So, So this is $130 on AppMex to buy Buffalo right now. The price you see that is the paper, to buy the paper contract. You don't want exposure. You don't want to hold on to it. You don't want anybody to take it from you. It has its advantage. You're buying a paper contract. People have made fortunes right now. Silver outperformed, was the number one performing seller asset in 2025, and it will be again in 2026. It will make more money than gold because the ratio between the two metals are going to close. I don't care about price. Price is irrelevant. It's already 130. It's not 103 right now. It's 130. Go look at, I'm not wrong. It's 134 to buy an eagle. So these prices are the market's showing by premium too where the demand is at. And right now, outside of America, China's been saying they pay $7, $8, $9 over the spot price, even at Shanghai. So this is showing the backwardization of how this is growing. This gap now is, with the metal deficit every year, people want the physical metal. They're not calling for these paper contracts. They've been draining all this physical metal out of the market. So I told you, go back and study Road to Ruta at, Big Swear here on YouTube at Road to Ruta. And he covers this in depth like no other channel does, covering this on how many contracts are coming for call for delivery and how many are naked shorted. And most people don't have the attention span for that, but that's okay. I understand. Everybody's got their thing, economics are a neat thing to me because they're kind of like math, and I like math. So not math. I don't like Mexican Americans either. So stay away from me. All right. So, but anyways, these markets, these ratios, what I pay attention to. For during the COVID, it was 125 to 1, which means you could have went and traded your gold for 125 ounces of silver. And right now, gone back and traded it at 51 and got 2 ounces of gold. See already, plus you're already in the better with this. So this is the gap, the ratio between the two is what you should pay attention to. So if you own any silver, you don't need to disclose in here if you do or not. That's how this works. You need to get into this and understand that this is a ratio. We're seeing finally this historic ratio is 15 to 1. A silver quarter, like a quarter. This isn't a silver quarter, but a silver quarter, right? So it's got the copper on the side. A silver quarter, remember, 1964 or older, remember, that would always buy you a gallon of gas. Look at what's going on now. I think there's a price disconnect. So this silver, remember, this used to be, again, the first money in scripture was silver, but this, again, quarter right now has become $18 per, there's 5.5 quarters in an ounce. People have lost discovery on what's going on with the, even in the gas price. I've tried to explain people, there's ratios in the past that have, held for some time, and now we're seeing these markets blow the tops of these off. So there's no really telling where the markets can and will go. But if you pay attention to the ratio is what I pay attention to. Ratio is all that matters to me, because again, you could get 125 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold during the COVID. That wasn't that long ago. Even like a year ago, it was around 100. And so it's now closed down to 50. And it will shut down again. When it was in a quarter, 64 or older, it was 15 to 1. So we got a ways to go from 50 down to 15. So the price of silver could go easily to 500. I told you it could go to 5,000 because I think it will one day be valued 1 to 1. Gold and silver will be priced exactly the same, or one day silver could be worth more than gold. This is copper, but you go trade it if you want to trade it. Some people, that's going back to the time of Christ. That's what the ratio, historically, it's been 15 to 1 when it's been in money. It's more historically been at the rate of 15 to 1. God's ratio is every ounce of gold they pull out, 8 ounces of silver come up with it. That's God's ratio. Everybody can have 8 ounces of silver. If they divided all the surface silver up right now, everybody could have 8 ounces. God's ratio. If you have 9 ounces, you got somebody's silver. You got somebody's silver. Somebody is not getting their ounce of silver. Nope, not right now, Carl. That's not the ratio. That's not the ratio anymore. That's not the ratio. Go do the ratio. You're incorrect. It's 50. It's not 80. Look them up. Look at Kitco right now. Let's do it. Let's do the ratio. What is the ratio today? Silver's at 103 or 4, back down to that. It might be up some more. What gold hit 51, almost back down to 5 fips. Take the two. That gives you the ratio. Divide the silver price by the gold price. That's the silver to gold ratio. That's what we're watching. That's what we're watching on this channel, because you'll be here to get to see it do what it's going to do. It's going to narrow. So divide the silver price by the gold price. 100, 5,000. We know it's somewhere around 50 right now. So it's not 80. It's close. Used to be 80. Because you could have got in and got 80 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. Keep watching this ratio close. This is what I'm talking about. Don't pay attention to the price. If you don't have it in your hand, price ain't even going to matter. Will it? Unaffordium, and then you can't afford to buy it, and then unobtainium because it's all gone. Samsung wants it. Elon Musk wants it for Starlink, for his boring company. He wants, Apple, Android. Google wants it. Amazon wants it. DARPA wants it. The military industrial Halliburton. Don't make me go there. I'll start naming off some of these, Lockheed Martin and Boeing and oh yeah, lots of silver. so it's at 50 right now. It's closing fast. It's been holding. That's right around here because gold's been going up. So it's just it's used for many things. 555 it is. It's used in photovoltaics. That's solar. It's used in photo. It's used in medicine. It's a antimicrobial. You put it in the cleanest thing on this rock. You can filter water with the silver. They weave it into band-aids. It's the most conductive, most reflective metal on this rock. So you don't need any. Don't worry about it. Somebody will take your 8 if you don't want any. There will. There are people who've been hoarding and rat holing silver for a long time. So got in at $2, and now it's what $130 for a buffalo. $130 if you want to be a buffalo farmer just to get in the gate. Just get one buffalo to add to be a herd. You got to have how many buffaloes? So, are you a buffalo herder? So, but there's scrap out there. So, there are a lot of vampires, bloodsuckers that'll try to suck your energy. Vipers is what the scripture calls them. Don't sup with vipers. So, careful, don't cast your pearls before swine. Low energy. Boston Dynamics, there we go. DARPA, all these, the military industrial complex. So, but it's okay. Like I said, it's not for most people. Most people are not in the market. It's a $900 billion market cap, brother, sister. The silver market is less than $1 trillion. It's a teeny tiny market. Remember, the derivative market is something like 3 quadrillion. So if a tiny 0.1% of that market tried to slide into the silver market, it would make silver $5,000 overnight. Yes, it would. So that's why they've been slowly trickling it out of the system and buying Basel III agreement gold as well since 2023. The central banks, the banksters, the money printers who've been printing the money are the ones who are buying up all these, gold and delivering on these silver contracts, 1,000-ounce bars and, not the Joe, that's, remember, a lot of this industry too. China just shut down 40%, of the refining is now closed off. India's been buying how much? People have been stockpiling this. I did videos back on True Viral Television when there was no nations that had any stockpile of silver. Go watch my videos from 12 years ago. This ain't my first rodeo. Think about all the people who bought silver back then when I was telling them to buy it at 12, 13, 14, $50. Yeah, under 50 was fire sale. 15, 16, 17. Used to walk around with a $20 bill in my hand, put a silver eagle in somebody's hand, say, would you rather have this silver dollar here or $20? And, So, wow, where'd you get that? Put it in millionaires' hands, and they go, where'd you get that at? Well, they got millions of dollars in farm equipment or whatever, machinists, or, people got money in other places, but they never take time to, get the physical. So remember, there's a cakewalk. There's 300 paper contracts chasing one piece of silver on the COMEX. So that whole gig is up. The gig is up. Commodities Exchange is a fraud. They moved all that money from the LBMA, remember, back, and there's no metal there more to cover. They'll take the money out of SL or the silver out of SLV, and then it's over. 500 ounces, not 5 ounces. 500 ounces in a cruise missile, Patriot. A monster box. Monster box full of silver takes to put in a smart missile. What's called a smart missile. 500 and more in some. So imagine how many's in an aircraft destroyer. I'm a veteran in Black Hawk, Apache helicopter, Tanks, drones, they all take silver. Data. mining, military intelligence mining stations. Mind your mind your own business, or you're going to get credit scored and you're going to get tokenized and put in a millimeter dome. Yeah, your super dome. It's like your stupid bowl. It is. I like to do that. Play their little. Remember Chile? They turn the cars upside down with a millimeter wave tech. They've got it. It's called Operation Blue Book, not Project Blue Beam. It's Operation Blue Book. Stop telling yourself you've been psyop. So go back and study. It's older than that. So they love playing. They just think that's what they did down there in Venezuela. Super soldiers, huh? Terminators. So that's not nice. Whatever. Look what those people, what happened to them down there. So, but anyways, you do with whatever. Don't take any of this economic advice. I just told people the statistics, and I have for a dozen years on this platform and half a dozen channels. So you take with this information and discern all things, but I do think their markets for silver are headed much higher, and I do see $5,000 silver because I think they'll go 1-to-1. Not because of price. Price won't matter because of ratio. See, people are lost, and it's okay. If it goes back down, a lot of people will be backing the truck up at this point. If China, been paying over $100, it's been over $100 everywhere but the U.S. I don't think we're going to go back under 100. So, yeah, that's why I said $100 silver is cheap. So, but I'm not giving any economic advice. Again, contact your Charles, put whatever you stick in your Schwab, or I don't want to tell you how to spend your money. So, it's getting hard to come by. Copper, one of these things that I never thought would just disappear. You can used to go buy boxes and boxes of pennies. My ex-wife's named pennies. I used to throw them away. Get those away from me. Stop reminding me of my, what a waste that was. Now I save them. A penny saved is a penny earned, remember? I'll pick them up off the ground. Ain't no pride. I'll pick up a penny on the ground. So, tails never fails. There is no such thing as luck, but whatever. Oh, a little coin toss here. 2 cheeks to the same hole, 2 wings to the same dragon, like a token, 2 sides to the same token there. So, careful. It's kind of a crazy world we're living in here. So, anything's possible. Who thought you'd ever see ZIRP, zero interest rate program? What the, right? Yeah, just penalize the saver. That'll throw the money right back into the economy. Brilliant, huh? What about NIRP, negative interest rate? Now, there we go. That's, remember, Mr. Warp Speed, he's going to fire Jerome soon because he misquoted, I think, how much it cost to build the Fed. The central banksters. Give a man a gun and rob a bank. Give a man a bank and rob the world. JP Chase. Get you chasing your tail like a dog, huh? That's all right. Economics are not most people think. Their general public doesn't invest in anything but, they're debt slaves. And so they have a house, a big, huge house on a little small piece of property. Most of them. By average, everybody stuffs themselves in the cities. It's kind of, I was birthed in the concrete jungle, so I know what it's like to be right up on somebody there. That's not, I'd rather live on a big piece of property with a little small house, and I can build 10 of them out there if I so choose. But you do you, and I'll, broad is the way that leads to the wide gate, I'll tell you that. That's where all the big city lights are at, right? Big clover leaves and Lucky Charms are, highways and interchanges. So broad is the way that leads to hell. Narrow is the country roads, right? So that's the way that leads to the straight gate. So notice these country roads out there, they got narrow roads. So population density, careful. People take everything you have. Better have a good way to keep it safe. So that's the way it's going to get. Maybe that's what they're practicing, to kick down doors. That's what they're doing out there on the streets of this American, huh? Or America, or can. Kick that can down the road, huh? They're doing more than kicking people. Looks like they're shooting people again, huh? Disgusting what's happening out there. It is what it is. Gold's an indicator of chaos. Gold's at an all-time high. Father creates this evil, so you get on the right side of history, you're going to be the silent majority. Most people will. That's the reason it's called the majority. Get it? Silent. That's why it goes on like this. The only thing it takes for evil to flourish is for good men to stand around and do nothing. The people, remember, we're equally coveted, man and woman. So I don't say anything. That's why we're right where we're at. Right where Father wants us to be. The silent majority, right? So just speak up. That's all you got to do is, the truth will set you free. Aletheia. So share the light. I don't put my treasure in shiny dirt, but you got to have some extra oil, right? So pretty neat little copper round. Bear bowl round. My camera sucks, but that's pretty cool, bear. There we go. That's a little better. Bear markets when it's going down, and bull markets when it's going up, like bull horns, like the golden calf. So these are spendy, but I think on the open market I'll use them for trade. That's why I purchased them for trade. Remember, I don't want to sell anything for cash. I think there'll be people who will never actually sell anything. They'll trade you though. That's called a free market. Free markets are the road to freedom, if there ever was a thing. Exactly. People just check out and grow their own food, and 1% of the populace in America grows their food right now. It was 40% during World War II. They couldn't keep feeding us these genetically modified, sprayed with bugs, grown, fluoridated and chloridated water crap, box bag and canned flavored poison. Yellow Lake dye number what? Corn syrup. That was good for you, right? Nope. So, hey, it's what it is. We pay for our own poisoning. They must love it at the top. Just like, dude, look at these people. We just fill the grocery stores full of poison. They come pay to poison themselves every month. Some people. So some people grow their own food, but nope, just a tiny fraction of people actually grow their own food. So I'm guilty. I have some food, but not all of it. So maybe someday I'll get there. Someday, right? I ain't making plans. Father Reckham, I have a lot, some dugouts here. I made an outdoor garden. So we'll be doing some more growing this year when the spring, when the new year starts, new life springs up. Remember? April Fools, hello. So right about that time, not in the middle of the winter. Hello, ding dong. So bell, get it? Ding dong. Anyway, ho ho ho. Got them throwing snowballs at each other now too, right? So yeah, they'll eat anything. Snowballs, yeah. I'm not really a big coconut fan, so not like that, but I like coconut, but just not on candy. Some people almond joy or yeah, the man's nuts. Get him out of here. So yeah, but yeah, we're good to go. We got to get all our ducks in order, right? So chickens, ducks, sheep, goats. Where are you putting your that's pretty important to have all those things, don't you think? Have your own resources, your own food supply, garden, above ground, below ground. All those are pretty important, Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Preparing to fail. You want to be a failure, don't prepare. That's the way it goes. It's better to have and not need than need not have, right? It's not gluttony. He said have extra oil. So maybe some of that white money that's spent for thousands of years that they'll take anywhere in the world. You can go spend that. They'll take it from you and give you some of their paper guaranteed anywhere you go. That's money, baby. They call it the white metal. They call that money in some of the Asian countries. Money. They call silver money. Oh, you have money. Not paper payments. They know what it's worth. Remember? They had it all stolen from them. Got them hooked on, remember? Opium. Look what's going on in America. getting all their silver stolen from them, huh? So watch the ratio close. Pay attention to ratio. Price has nothing to do with it. It's already I think it's too expensive for most people to buy silver. So $130 an ounce. I can't afford no silver at $130 an ounce, and that's cheap. But I have a ministry to build. So I said $100 an ounce is cheap. What's another $30 when it's $500? You think they care you paid 100 or 130? No. So $100 days will come. We're seeing $10 days. It went up by over $10 and back down, but we're seeing that in those range right there. So $20, $50, and then $100 days are coming. So, but people don't understand the dynamics behind this critical mineral, deemed critical by the member on the critical mineral list by the government. So, as well as copper, not just silver, but copper. I hope so. A little bit. Some people can get in at 100. That'd be great, but nobody's buying no $100 silver. Remember, it's $131, $130 right now on Amex to buy that. But yes, we need to see a pullback, Mario. Nothing goes straight up. That's not how markets work. That's normally manipulation. Same thing with pulling it down. So there is blow off tops. 80% of the night, almost 90% of the gains are made in the last 10% of the market. Up there. That's where most of them are made. So that's just the way the market works. So you got to hold this stuff for a while. So nobody can pick a top. So, but I don't think we're anywhere near the top. I would like to see it pull back, 95, 93, show people, shake some hands out that people bought in at silver and don't think that it's ever going to, they just bought in thinking it's a lottery ticket. They're going to get rich quick. People have been holding it for 10, 15, 20 years, 50 years, some people, and this is a good time for them to probably pull some profit, if you ask me. Don't ever sell your whole stack, but peel off and get that little, cabin you wanted or something, shed, or maybe you want to do addition to the house or buy that truck, or maybe you have enough to buy a house or something. So what, if it went up, who cares later? So what, you have what you want. What are you going to hold on to it forever, never take any profit? So pull, not take, pull profit, remember? So you can take out your original investment. That's always smart. If you have anything left over, then you're all profit there, aren't you? Lots of ways to invest. I'm not giving any economic advice, but nobody can pick a top. Bottoms are a little easier to see, but tops, we don't know. And now we broke through that, something was 100. I said we would hit this time. Where there is no top at this point. It's blown the roof off the market, and it will find its true intrinsic value. And sometimes that's just going and trading it, the free market, with somebody, and not even back for dollars. Because sometimes, again, in the future, I don't think anybody's going to take any dollars for it. Like, F you with your US dollar. It's garbage. We don't want it. Everybody's already paying it with gold backed, So Shanghai's got their gold backed yuan, and there's a lot coming in the markets. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that we're anywhere close. You can't take an asset, the most undervalued asset on this rock, and pull it down for 180 years and expect it not to shoot out of there and get a lot higher than it is right now. Stop thinking about price. Pay attention to ratio. So when will it shut down? It's kind of coming to this 50 ratio. Remember, it stayed at 80 for almost a decade, between 80 and 90, right around there. Got higher during the COVID, got up to 125. Now it's down to 50. Silver 100, gold 5, about 50, 50, 51. So it's hanging in that ratio. Stop thinking price unless you can just afford down to go get it, because pretty soon you're not going to be able to get it. That's unobtainium. Unaffordium comes first. How many ounces could you rush down there right now at 130 an ounce and go buy, which you don't have to, or buy it off Amex the way to come, or JM, or SD, or Monument Metals, or Money Metals Exchange, or these trusted dealers, Mike Maloney, Gold Bull, what is Andy Schechtman's place? He's got I can't remember, darn it, but he's been in business forever. He's a mint dealer, and he deals direct with U.S. Mint, so not too many direct distributors of U.S. Eagles. So uh, darn it, I can't think of the name. So, but they're here on YouTube. Go Finance and Liberty and see. Uh, there's places. Be very careful buying any metal right now. There's a lot of fakes being pumped into the market, and when silver hits this price, that's what's going to happen. And a lot of them are going to be coming out of China. I think we're going to still see a lot of exporting out of China, but it's not going to be the silver. It's going to be a lot of fakes. And so careful, but there are trusted places to go, online dealers. And there are now with silver, or gold hitting, 5,000, most of these people can have a machine to test to make sure that they should test all their metal. And most coin shops will. Pawn shops a little different, but there are pawn shops that sell good metal out there that have the machines and test them before they take anything from you. Here in Oregon, you have to sign paperwork if it's over a certain amount or whatever. So they keep some regulation on it, which is good. So careful as the price of metal gets higher. It's going to be a lot more fakes coming out too. So hopefully the markets will, I would hope for a little bit of a pullback, but that might not happen for a while. There are times in history like when the lead market did this and it repriced. Go look at the history of the lead market. Go look at the history, and the same thing in the copper market happened. And it repriced. It found a new reality, something that didn't follow any of the Fibonacci codes. It didn't stay within the see all the top, where it comes out in these candles and breaks off out of these moving day average. It just blows through all the averages and makes a new reality. And I think that's what we're seeing with silver. So Mario asked a good question, and I have not the answer for that. I told you I would hope for a pullback, because if they try to pull it back like they did by dumping $1.4 billion of paper contracts on the market, it just shot back up. They're not going to be able to keep it down. It will find its true value. That's what's happening right now, because there's a physical demand for it. Remember, 200 to 300 million ounces every year are in deficit since the COVID. And again, COVID, it slowed down, but before then there was deficit as well. I've done videos on this talking about this silver deficit. There's more of a demand because we've been, AI with these windmills for decades now. They've been around for a while, windmills and all this green energy nonsense. We're all going to die, we're all going to melt, all that global warming nonsense. Get back in the closet, Al Gore, right? With this Greta, that dude, Thunberg, another one of those nonsense, Michael Mann with his hockey stick, we're all going to melt, But anyways, it pushed that agenda. Remember, fossil fuels. A fossil is something that's left behind. It doesn't have to be shaped like a, oh my gosh. People don't even do the composition of oil. We know it. Bones don't turn to oil. How about that? You ever heard of a compression event? We can see it in the layers of our paleo, the strat, all the levels of our. People are ignorant when it comes to these cycles too. Remember that, our sisters. These are cycles. They ride the debt cycle as well. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense. People would forget these people are the how do you think this 8 to 10, 12 families right now have kept reign for the last 8,000 years? They understand the debt cycle. They're the ones with all the money. Right now it's a corporation. It's fascism, basically. Hold on, I gotta go out there and get a drink of my coffee. Remember, I gotta buy coffee when I went to town. Oh, the kitten came inside. Hi, kitten girl. Hi, kitten girl. Here's our pretty girl, our pretty juniper that we love out here in the desert. She kind of like the desert. She's lovely. Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonder? She's better than any gold or silver. Huh. She's better. She's more precious than any precious metal. I just love this girl. She loves her dad. We love you. We love having you here. We always love having you. You're the best part of this bin and the biggest, best kitten I ever did best. Or the bestest kitty I ever did have. Dad loves you. Hey, psst, I love you. She's just a dad's girl. We love her. Oh, I love this kitten girl. She's the best. She's Juniper, and she has the prettiest eyes if she'll show you her eyeballs. She's got just beautiful eyes, too. Oh, there you go, lovely girl. You're just so pretty. You're the pretty girl. Your dad's prettiest girl I ever did have. You're just lovely. You're just lovely. Kitties are always a #1 seller, huh? She does a good job. We love you. Get down. All right, she's going to stay right here. Hang out with the dad. Oh, she's over there with the kid. The puppy's going to switch spots with her. So. All right. Hey, would you get back? Would you get back? I want to take a drink. Sorry, I'm getting attacked by my puppy. Okay, Mr. Puppy, would you get back? Dad's going to take a drink of my coffee. All done. Pants, all done. Hey, Pants, all done. Come on, let me get a drink. Well, now we're going to have to tell him 3 times. He's magnetic, though. Oh, yummy. That's pretty good. I don't do a lot of sugar, so that's pretty yummy. It's like drinking a candy bar. All right, oh, I gotta put this over there. I got it. I gotta do some sugar. Remember, I gotta put sugar in my body, whether I like it or not. They're like, I have to have some sugar. So I just quit all the sugar altogether. So a little bit, moderation. So probably make that last like a week or something. You know, it'll be I think the last one that I had was about a week, something like that. But I need to do it because I'm not getting enough sugar in my body. So I notice when I put just a little bit sugar back and some bread that, you know, a little, not obviously I know what's wrong with me now. What's been wrong with me is my back. You know, I broke another vertebrae. So that's the pain that I've been, you know, with the lightheadedness and it is what it is. I've been used to it because I've done it before. So now that I know what it is, I can actually get much better control of it. Thank you, Father. So, for keep me upright because I've done this before. So it's not my first rodeo. I can make it through this. I know I can, no matter what I will, and push through it and tell them to screw off with their surgery and their pills. So I'll be fine. I'm just going to work through it. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've done this before already. So obviously I think the first break that I had was probably the worst. That was a really, you know, but This is pretty good. Compound fracture, it's pretty from, it's compression fracture, not compound. It's from compression. So not compound, my bad. It's just too much. I know when I did it. I told you guys when I did it. So I've been dealing with it since, and that's actually been some time if you look since that's passed. So it's not something I haven't already been dealing with every day. There's no reason to get all weird kooky about it now that we identify that. So it goes in cycles, like I said, just like anything, with me. It just as long as I don't overdo it, and I can get a lot of things done. That's why I don't work 8 hours a day anymore. I can work 5 to 6 is my limit. So whatever, I get a lot done in 5 to 6 hours, more than most people get done in 8 hours anyway. So, but I'm not, I'm pretty efficient when I do something. I do work hard when I work. So I don't work overly hard either. I don't work in a hurry ever. Not in a hurry to ever do anything. That's not how you get quality work. You do it right the first time. So no cutting corners. So don't do that. Don't compromise quality. Not worth it to have to go back and try to fix something. More of the time, it's just cost you more or whatever. I've done it. Have businesses, own business. I've done it. So be efficient at what you do. So that's how steady wins the race. Remember? Who wins, the tortoise or the hare? You tell me. So that's how she works. That's what I told myself, and that's why I know I can do it. Like I said, I'll just push through it. So I'll yeah, I think what I'm gonna continue to just deny any kind of no narcotics, no, I don't know. They already want to line me out for surgery, so they're quick to the, took them a while to want to do that last time, but this time they want to get straight at it. So I don't know. There's a lot changed. I've looked in the, since 17 years ago. There's been a lot of advancement, and some doctors have some really good success rates. When I talk to people throughout the years for the last 15 prior years to and then people always told me was it from about split down the middle, that half of them think it's the best thing they've ever done in their life, and then they have better and feel like they have their life back, and some people say, man, I feel worse than I did when I went in there. And that's when it always drags on me, when I think about going in and having letting them split you open and jack you up and start putting different kinds of crap in your body. It's like, I might not ever walk again. Well, right now I can drag myself in here or whatever until I can't literally physically walk anymore. I think then it's time to have surgery, right? Preventive maintenance. I know I'm not being, it's my hard-headedness, but that just always, that one's, that, I'll be honest, I'm not scared of too many things, but that scares the living hell out of me when I think about, somebody going in and being somebody like me and then coming out even worse than I am already. That would, oh my God, I would never. Supposed to go in there and get fixed. Somebody like me, something like that could happen to, just barely touch the wrong end of a nerve or something doesn't, we're really super, sensitive back there on your spine. They've refused before in the past to give me cortisone because they just don't want to, it's just too much trauma back there. They got to actually go in and, I'll break it even more. That's what the last doctor said. I'm not giving these. I run the risk of paralyzing you, and you're going to just go out and break your back again if I give this to you, because you won't feel it anymore, and it'll just cover it for a while, and then you'll think you're fine, like you had surgery, and you're not going to stop. Obviously, you've already done this twice now. So, do you feel like you were only meant to live to 35? Well, my dad died at 37. So anything after 37 to me was gravy. So it was 45 or a 45, but I'm not, that was just a stupid thing I said back when I was younger, because my dad died when he was 37. So I didn't think I'd live be. I've almost been alive. Last year, my dad died 36 years ago. So this year will be 37 when he was 37. So almost as many years he's been gone as I have, been alive past that he's was alive. So I'm getting up there, man. So. That's all right. Well, I'm eternal. It don't matter. I don't ever really die. Death's an illusion. It's just a doorway, but we'll use it for conversation's sake. So if you don't celebrate birth, you never get older too, remember? So I still have the body of a 30-year-old. So I do, not bragging or anything. I just do. I have see, I don't get all that saggy skin or, see it in the neck or whatever. A little bit of wrinkles, but not too bad for being in my 50s. So, clear skin and I'm fit, no body fat, so didn't really age past that time. So some of us are like that. But uh-oh. Banny's got a PDF file in here. So, but seriously, some people reach that kind of age and don't age much. I know quite a few people like that are similar to my age, that their bodies are not going to just kind of, if I shave or whatever, don't show you any gray, people don't normally can't guess my age. So that's a good thing. I don't care about vanity, but it shows that I'm trying to take care of myself, that I'm not trying to get all haggard looking because have some stress in my life, or let Father handle it for me. Don't let it eat my damn stomach up and get ulcers and shit like that. I did that when I was younger, and oh yeah, you're gonna come into a ministry and say that to somebody's family. Good for you there. So, old man, yep, that's me. I'm eternal. I don't never die. Remember, just die to flesh. That's temporary. Remember, it's supposed to die to flesh daily. Spiritual. Remember, idolatry. So, deny yourself daily. Not the word. I don't want to share the word. So, that's what we do in here. I come in here to share the word. Remember, it's not about numbers. I don't come in here. I don't really even look at the numbers half the time. So it doesn't normally tell how many people are in here. We have 0 people and have 15 people in here, 20 people in here. It's done that many times. So this is a shadow band channel. So, good stuff. So, not yet. 52 right now. 52. If I make it to 53, I know I'll be over 100. Is what I've always been told that I'd live to be by anybody that I've ever talked to that I knew, who knew anything about me, who didn't have to ever meet me, so to speak. Said that I would not live, that I thought I was going to die young, like Mario said, and said, you're not, you're going to be old, an old man. So I'm like, no, don't tell me that. I don't want to be old. I don't want to get old. So I've been hard on my body when I was young. Did a lot of things I shouldn't do and didn't take good care of my body. And beat it up a lot. Broke a lot of bones. Stitches and trips to the doctors and a lot of cast and yeah. So you feel those old injuries after a while. I remember my grandparents told that you'll feel that when you get older. So, but I don't know. I already told you that my dad was born in 1952. Father does everything by the number in my life. And my day of death's written, so don't get anything silly thing in your head here. My dad died at the age of 37 years old. He was born in 1952. I was born in 1973. I should die at 52 years old. This might be my last year here. So I'm okay with that. I feel like I've lived 3 lifetimes. I did not get cheated at all. And, I would feel bad because I never got to know what happened to my son and daughter. But other than that, there's nothing here for me. But the ministry. my brothers and sisters that love the truth. But other than that, I don't have anything here. This physical, this bores the hell out of me. The only thing that excites me is the word. It's all dirt. It all came from the dirt. I've had my fair share of the dirt. So um, anything's possible. I'm not giving up on anything. Remember, I might live another 52 years. So that's what the person, you'll be at least 104. You're wrong, with what I just told you. So it's just a numbers thing. Father does that with me with everything. I do know everything is a number to me. Everything is an equation. It's mathematical. It's algebraic to me. So everything is. If you take something from here, you have to give it back over here. So I'm always going to do the math on everything, just the way my brain works. So this would be my last year. That'd be the way Father would do it. It would be a bookend. 52, 73, 73, 52, or 37, 52. So, but I'm not afraid of death. I've already lived. I don't need to get off YouTube. Father has given me the bounty to be here with my family because I got nothing else to do. I don't have any, I want for the ministry is what I want. I'm going to work my ass off, try to get this, spend every freaking hard work, labor, everything. If I don't get it taken from me, to help the ministry, not me. I mean, it'll give me a place to be here so I can't get run off, but I'll always, I want 100% this to be, once I actually get the physical, I do believe I'll be able to put all of this into high desert faith and truth and, make it so it's non-taxable. And then it can be here forever after I'm gone. So, well, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, hallelujah. Father is such an abundance in my life to give me the time to come in here and share the gospel with you guys. So there's nothing more valuable than that. I don't have to accomplish anything in the physical. You know what I'm saying? It's a spiritual testament. We're a spiritual Israel. We're a spiritual bride, inwardly spiritual Jews. So remember, in all flesh, not somewhere in the middle of the desert. So I am blessed to have been, I don't like using that word, to been given the abundance to come in. I only ever wanted, I told my son, to just scream from the highest mountain as loud as I could the gospel. And for, it was just some weird thing from, it's just, if I could find myself in the right location and, and this is higher than any other mountain top that could ever reach. This is all 180 countries have heard this ministry through this interweb that we're here on now. And I know that this channel has been up for years. And it has reached every continent one way or another. Somebody has heard this gospel, and that is far superior to anything I thought could ever had. I don't have expectations because Father wrecks my plans, but, I prepare. So that was my wish, if you will. I don't wish on, that was a desire, a bucket list. If I could just share the gospel, scream it from the highest mountain, and just that ear would hear me, so it would resonate with somebody. And this is what this ministry has been such a blessing to me for, because in abundance and bounty. So I lost something, prior, with this too, not that, my son is the one who told me to put the fire. He really put the fire. Brother Jim Brown is the one who told me to fellowship is why this ministry was created. But the drive that took off, because I stayed here for some time, and then my son, he told me to take it over to the ministry, over to TikTok, and that started the momentum. And then remember, we got kicked off TikTok. Its channel's still up, and then came over here and matched it almost immediately. As long as it took the channel to reach the 20 over there, it reached 20 here, and it's still sitting at 20. That's exactly where Father wants it. 23,000, huh? Interesting number, don't you think? So Father's perfect. I thank him for so much for have this abundance, to have this ministry. And no matter what happens to me, they'll know that I didn't go down as a silent majority, and that I shared the gospel with as loud as I could, as far as I could, and for some pretty extended periods of time, because that's what Father gave me the abundance of, is time. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm still banned on TikTok. They won't let me on TikTok, so they won't let me live stream. So just like they won't let me into America Ever After or Truth Viral Television, I can't get in. There's things they locked me out of. This shadow man. Remember, we made 20,000 in 3 months, pretty much 3 months, just like TikTok, 20,000. Remember, you came over from, and over here, and then been at 20,000 for 3 years. So it's okay. It just Father doesn't make any mistakes. So it's never been about numbers like that. I enjoy that we don't have some monster channel. It would just be more madness that you moderators have to moderate out of here. And you guys have a tough job on this channel because I know, I don't even, you guys get rid of a lot of it pretty quickly in here. So it's never about, oh, let's, get subscribers and blow this channel up. No, that's not what this channel is about. This channel is keep that stuff away from this ministry. And it's a teeny tiny flock. Many are called but few are chosen. That's what the beautiful thing about this channel is. It's the oligos that come here on a regular basis and just come to fellowship, with each other. I love sharing the gospel, and we have others that, again, that are part of this ministry. And remember, there's always people sitting on the sidelines, whether realizing, I'm not talking about the government, that come forward from time to time that are watching your comments. And this, I've learned so much from the comment sections through many blogs. That was the golden. I remember the first time, with chat rooms came into, web TV, and, be able to communicate with people all over the world via, this, what we take for granted now as a live stream was, a pretty unique, way to learn, to get out, actually right there, it's not in person, but to make that connection right there with links and things like that, good comments. And again, I told you, sometimes the better portion of something that I watch or blog or, some excerpt or something, is going through the section of the comment section, or people talk about something that was being mediated or narrated or whatever the focus was, and point out things that weren't in the main body and go, holy crap, I would have never thought of that. That's you, brothers, sisters. That's people in the comment section too. So I've learned a lot, through the years of being on this net through comments, and reading what people are talking about, not just my studying of whatever that I'm trying to study, but going through and seeing a different perspective. Not everybody has the same taste, like in music, so not everybody hears the same. I say something, people get a totally different. I know that happens all the time. We do that, that's just the way it happens. You say something, you're the only person on this rock that thinks about you the way you think about who you are. Nobody in your life, even not your mom or your dad, thinks about you the way you think about yourself. You have your own unique, that's a pretty neat thing. So, careful, we get a set mindset of what we, this whole world is reality is not somebody else's reality, So, Saudi Arabia, right on. Brothers and sisters, I'm sure I got brothers and sisters that are in the narrow way in Saudi Arabia. Thanks for not putting a stupid flag. I don't like flags, but people do when they're from another country, but I don't like flags. So it's all flesh. Father's bride is in Saudi Arabia. Father's bride is in Africa. Father's bride is in Russia. Father's bride is in America, where I'm at. The most filthy, disgusting nation of the world. I'm a soldier, so let's not talk about, Afghanistan and the military industrial complex that likes to pound the hell out of the people in the Middle East. So now they're doing it to their own people. You don't even have to be from another country. Remember? They'll just shoot you in the face, pretty much. Hey, apologize. That's the truth of the matter of the country we live in now. So it is one of the most dangerous nations to be in right now. Is this? They'll take you and throw you in a cage. You disagree, they'll send you to another country where they vacated all the prisons and brought the people here. Yep. America, boys. Don't you love it? Nope. It's a disgusting, filthy nation, but it is what it is. You can speak up about it, or you can be the silent majority. See, that's the problem. Alcoholism, the first stage of alcoholism is denial, right? Can't admit that you have a problem. It ain't never going to get fixed. That's the American dream right there, boys. It is. I ain't tripping. Too short? Oh, I ain't tripping no more. Really ain't worth my time. Squashed it all. I kicked on back and wrote you all a rhyme. Oh, sorry. I do a little Todd Shaw there. Too short. Oaktown. All right, we won't do that one. You ever listen to Too Short? So, a little Too Short. Although I never came down to the flatland, I was chilling with the homies on the hill. All right. Oh, man. Life is, right? Life is too short. What are you doing with your time? So, I love spending it here with you, brother, sister. I really do. Like I said, there's a lot of other things that I do, but these are one of the things that it's. I feel like it's time that's not wasted. There's no time in vain ever that's ever spent here. So, regardless of what people come in and say that numbers, it doesn't matter. Well, that's not what this is a family. It's a family affair. So it is. I don't have people that I don't have friends or got blood relatives, but I don't have no family. Don't really have a friend from high school. Somebody kept up with them my whole life, or don't have more acquaintances. Some people I've met within the last few years or something like that, but I don't keep not rooted to anybody on this rock. Spiritually, I know there will be brothers and sisters that are come from this ministry, Grace and Truth, that will be there. You know what I'm saying? Is it safe for you to run errands? Sure. As of right now, it is. As of right now, the captain has not put on the fasten seatbelt sign, but hey, if you're of any darker skin in this country, they are going after people that have been let in here for, a nation of immigrants, trying to keep out all the immigrants. There are people from Saudi Arabia here, people who came here, naturalized process, have paperwork, going through all the appointments, and they're still kicking people out of here without even a criminal record. So, not really. If you don't have the papers, then they can put you in a box. If you want to be 100%, truthful here in America, no, not absolutely not. They could just pick anybody up right now, snatch kids and use them as bait. Remember, 5-year-olds. They do some pretty sick things in this country, especially right now. It's getting, you stop everybody's ass for 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years. Yeah. 1492, when we start going out our borders, no foreign entanglements, then it's going to come back on you. So that's what's happening here in America. It is a nation of a silent majority, remember? Because they're free dumb to do as they choose. So no, they're not. So it's getting quite World War II, Stasi, Nazi Germany in America. So, but no, everything's awesome. Military in 25 plus states, huh? So, yeah, good. Don't come to this nation. Go somewhere else. There's much better places to go than America. It is what it is. There's no such thing as fortunes, but an Arab demon is a genie. But he's from Saudi Arabia. I thought I'd throw some in there, whatever. It's, but yes, not in the nation that it once was. I understand why people, I'm a veteran. I defended the right of the people. That's why I am offended by this country and what it's become. This was a nation where people came, where this is supposed to be the freest nation, and that's not what it's like anymore. People have forgotten, Father's bride is black, white, brown, red, and yellow, all flesh under this covenant. And this is the melting pot, now they're just throwing everybody out of here. And I was born in the concrete jungle, or in the melting pot, Los Angeles, right there. And, I was the minority growing up. So I don't see color. There's only one race, the human race, man and woman. That's it. I don't do none of this other nonsense, but we keep it straight here. It is what it is. We stick to the word. Father's the word, remember? The word became flesh. That's the Hamashiach. Remember? Hebrew for Messiah. So when they hung on a tree, not on a cross. But anyways, thanks for coming in. I try to keep it real in here. This is once a place that was people, dreamed of coming. There's where you should take somebody's word for it. Find somebody who came to America fleeing, prosecution or something. Not prosecution, persecution. Persecution or whatever in the countries, I know. And then I know a guy that I helped, bought a cabin from, and he was from Cuba, and he said, I'm moving back to Cuba. This is less, free than when I moved here. It's getting out of hand. Too much paperwork, too much red tape, too much, can't do anything. Go back home. He said, the price that I was paying him for the building, I could go buy a property there with a home on that I was just paying this one, you know what I'm saying? So, this isn't the nation that it once was. It's not safe, especially if you're not from this country right now. Well, how do you tell who's from this country or not? It's a melting pot, for Christ's sake. Not everybody here was white. That's racist, man. See what I'm saying? Man, this country's gone to hell in a handbag quick, and people here just don't care about the state of these divided corporation states. Is what they are. They're not united. So if you come and be a sightseer, you can do that. But our police here are like freaking road raiders. It's called asset seizure forfeiture. Let's say you had some money, you wanted to bring some cash, they can take it from you in America. Say it was used in drug money and steal it from you. In America, people are warned about coming to this country. This isn't the freest country. They make a list every year of the top 10 freest nations. America's down there on the list. It hasn't been at the top 10 for a long time. People have forgotten there are better places to come than this country. And I'm not just, you got to think about that. Coming here, imagine right now from another country and then being thrown in a cage and shipped off to some other country. As a visitor, oh, you're not from here, get in a cage, beat up and thumped on. And look at how these people are treating people. Most people know due process means you have the right to a hearing. You don't have to have citizenship in this country to have the right of due process. I know I'm a constitutionalist, not a sovereign citizen. I don't do sovereign. There's no such thing as sovereign. Father is sovereign. Father is the creator. Father is perfect. Father is the creator of all these things. So he is sovereign. There is no sovereign. They have qualified immunity in this country, but they can't break the law, but they do it anyway. So very careful navigating the streets of America, no matter what state you're in, because they got the Gestapo out there. Papers, where are you coming from? They see your license, registration, and sure you got to all be taxed on it. It's ridiculous. The Hamashiach would be turning over these money changer tables. There are other countries where people live much better on a smaller income, but they have a better life. There are people who've gone and visited. I know I watch bloggers go over to Saudi Arabia, and there is a place where you can actually, and not everywhere. I mean, obviously there are different locations in all countries, but people can live on a smaller wage and not be taxed. You know what I'm saying? It is, and it sucks, man, because the UK used to be a beautiful place, Paris, and that's created by our government dispopulating all these places like Saudi Arabia, Syria. Look at all these places America goes and displaces all these people. We created that. It is, and a lot of people that have moved into things like UK, Paris, they are not assimilating. They're not like what's going on here in America. And remember, most people are Muslim, don't even understand the Muslim faith. They have no understand what they're like. A Christian doesn't understand any. I don't do none of it. That's not what the word is. His flesh his body is in Saudi Arabia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, America, all flesh, not this one place. And that's Old Testament in the middle of the desert. So people are ignorant. They've created these exodus out of these places with our wars and our war machine with 1,000+ military bases in all 180 countries. So we create this, brothers, sisters, whether people realize this or not. So what is going on over there in Europe is a lot different there and here in America, though. Totally different situation. Very similar in the sense that it was created, but it's done by displacing people like we've done in South America, funding these cartels. Remember old Vomit, Fast and Furious with all the pew-pews? So this is all, I thought they were going to go get drug dealers with drug boats. No, it was always about stealing their oil, wasn't it? And people better get right with that. That's China's oil. China's paid for that oil. We ain't stopping nothing down there. China and Russia are still moving oil in and out of Venezuela. People are too foolish to even pay attention to what's going on down there because they believe what they see on the television, on their lamestream media. Better to go, Al Jazeera, go somewhere outside of the country to get news if you want to know what's going on in America. They don't tell you what's going on outside of America, in America. They do talk about it outside the country, but, people in America have been very blinded to what's going on in this country. So it's changed from the country, roaring 20s, obviously 30s, 40s, 50s. Come on, the music, all that, whatever, just 60s, 70s, all the hippies, all the war. There we go. Let's think about it. War is what's profitable. So that's what's kept this military industrial complex war machine going. Those 1,000+ military bases in all 180 countries. So why anybody would come to America is because it has the strongest dollar. But that's all changing very quickly. Remember that Silk Road, branding the old, Belt and Road Initiative, not a single dollar, the largest infrastructure known to man right now, bigger than the CERN Hadron Collider in Switzerland, not a single dollar being spent on it. So people are ditching the dollar. They're ditching this treasury, look at what Japan, you want to see a BRICS nation? That's BRICS. Look at how many treasuries they're dumping. They're not actually a BRICS, but that's what BRICS is bailing out of the dollar. So it's happening, man, whether people like it or not. Outside the U.S., people know what's buzzing going on. But people inside the U.S. are very, remember our dollar is only because it's attached to the EU, the yuan. This whole thing is coming unglued as we speak right now. From the inside out, they're dismantling America, and people in America are not seeing it. And sooner or later, one day you're going to wake up, and they're going to be flying a new flag in this country. Talked about it for many years. It's the art of war, brothers, sisters. It's the art of war. You should read that book, Art of War. I mean, they're doing it. They did this before in history. This is happening. History repeats itself, So, will bombs ever fall in America? Who knows? They don't have to. The people are just being ripped apart by factions. Look, they're going to put the National Guard, I think, in Minnesota. What if they call in the Marines? They're going to have factions of Marines versus National Guard. Fight against ISIS terrorists in here in America. That's what they are. Paid mercenaries. I know, I'm a veteran. Same thing. Boko Haram in Africa, whatever. They were called Mujahideen when I grew up. Al Qaeda, ISIS, ISIL, same thing. Hamas, same thing. Paid mercenaries. We got them here in America. They're called ISIS. Yeah, they are. Same thing. Just a bunch of paid thugs, 45 days of training. Go get them, boys. Disgusting what these people are doing. Failing people's right of due process. Without a hearing. I don't care if you're, like I said, I'm tired of this nonsense. I grew up in Los Angeles, California. So, and most of I was the minority. These people come here, live here for 20 or 30 years, never committed a crime. There's people who come here who have paperwork. You don't even have to be from another country now, remember? Shooting our own citizens. So that's happening in this country now. A bunch of thug terrorists, failing the right of the Constitution, the right of due process, not even giving people a hearing. So anybody who supports this is a savage, and this is not Christ-like at all. So a nation of immigrants trying to kick out no, not just immigrants anymore. Grow up. They're coming for you next. What makes you so special? Somebody asked if it's safe to travel the U.S. right now. You got papers? What if there's an issue with your birth certificate? You get in the van and they don't have, remember the NDAA Act? The National Defense Authorization Act under Mr. 44, Vomit, for Mr. 4 + 5 is 9. Skip Joe Biden, 4 + 7 is 11. No, back there, the NDAA. So This is disgusting what is happening. As a United States Army veteran, I am appalled at the state of this union and what has been allowed by in the streets of this country. Military in the streets of America, that's a violation of posse comitatus. You can't do that. They're going to draft the women of America. Men are asleep in this country right now. Draft our women. They already did it in Ukraine, killed the Ukrainian generation. I don't think it's going to happen here. It's going to happen here, whether you like it or not. It's already, remember? National Guard, calling the National Guard out in Minnesota. Like I said, and people are calling for military in the streets. They love this, brother, sister. This is the time they have planned for so long. They have got the general public just, ready to go, all charged up. They do these, whatever, it's a world stage. Remember that. A lot of this stuff is it's called Hegelian dialect, problem, reaction, solution. They've always come in the hero. Remember, they have a problem, they create the problem. They know the public react to that, and they come in as the hero for the pre-planned solution to the problem they created. It's been done before in history. They know what they're doing. That's why my dad told me, you're not going to like the government, but they know what they're doing, son. So it is what it is. He warned me of this too. He warned me of China in the 80s when they were nothing. So that's what's happening here. Remember, the dragon will be there to consume the child. That's what you're seeing. Being eaten alive, inside out. It's been going on with their Agenda 2021, not 2030. It's sustainable development for the 21st century. You're lost. There is no Agenda 2030. You keep letting them hijack and move the goalposts. Remember, it's global warming. Now it's climate change. Stop it. People are so easily swayed, brothers and sisters, and they don't keep over, if you ain't taking flack, you ain't over the target. And that's what they're afraid to rock the boat. And that's what's going on in this country. Remember cancer, I can't see her, I can't talk about that in here. Okay, well, whatever. They don't want to fix it, like gangrene. How about that? No. When it first starts out, it's not like that. Infection. Oh, don't fix it. Next thing you know, you walk around without a leg. She didn't take care of it, but can't admit that you have a problem. You ain't gonna fix it. So denial, the first stage of alcoholism, remember? People deny it. So that's what's wrong with this country, whether people realize it or not. Nobody wants to admit anything's wrong. I mean, we have a president that's a PDF file, right? Everybody knows that. That's been on the dark web for how many decades? You ever read any of those white papers? No. Come on. They're all EpiPen Island boys. Yeah. EpiPens, remember with the Clintons and all that? Hillary and all that. Then now they don't testify, right? Anything to cover up for these papers. Wrong island, huh? Yeah, island boys and girls. They bring boys and girls to the island. See? Nobody cares about it. That's not enough to get people, to get out there and, do something about it. And I'm not calling for violence, remember? I'm not even calling for protest at this point in time because I think it's worthless now. You're wasting your time. And I'm not saying, you can check out of the system. Quit being a part of it. If everybody just went home and grow food, they wouldn't feed us the food they feed us. If everybody went and became self-sufficient, they wouldn't need all these jobs. I'm not saying there would be jobs, but stop relying on the system that's become your own system. Become your own central bank. Pull your money out of the system, get into gold and silver. God's money. I'm not telling you what to do financially, but there's ways without violence to do this. It's called evolution. Remember, revolution is like loading 6, shots in a revolver, like a hamster going on around on a, whoa, where are we going? Nowhere fast. Evolution is going around the cell, around the system. Bye. I'm going to take one leg out of the system. That's called evolution. Not like growing another thumb or, again, growing a kickstand so you can sit there and get stuck on dumb. Evolution, evolve, go away, go around the system. Don't keep feeding the system, but nobody understands that. So they're dependent on the system. It's the just-in-time delivery system. Remember? Right on time at their grocery stores. Boxed, bag, and canned flavored poison. What kind of blue, red, yellow lake dye number corn syrup god are you going after? So here, you want some bubbly too? Some energy drinks to give you some energy since you're all so sugar-fied. This will help get you back up with some more sugar. How's that? Sugar. So, oh, sugar. It is what it is, brother. I'm not trying to, I can't turn goats into sheep. I've had my own issue, but I know that there's things that, we can do. We can have the ability. If we don't participate in their system dries up all on its own. Think about it. It's like the school bully. If you quit giving him all that attention, he'll quit picking on you. It is. If everybody just went around the system like in World War II, 40% of the populace grew their own gardens. You think if that was going today, they could give us this genetically modified crap at the stores, look like grandma's over on the table, how she had that plastic fruit were all the same size. Why are all the apples the same size? Why are the oranges the same size? Got all that waxy color tone to it. Now we're eating that stuff. Plastic, pretty much polymers. You remember Velveeta cheese, pretty much eating your dashboard. Not too many polymers away from the gas that you put in your vehicle. Welcome to America. Welcome to the world. Everybody's doing it. Remember, we're the war machine, the oil. We're the oil daddy. So who's your daddy? Remember Hoosier like tires? Get it? My son was born in Indiana. I had to roll that one out there. Get it? Hoosier. So, all right. And they do any racing? Yeah, we like to do it in the dirt. Hammer down and turn left, huh? All right. For all my dirt track fans out there, like to go in circles in the dirt. Woo! All right. My bad. Remember Mr. Warp Speed said he was going to ban alcohol. That'd just bring back moonshining, wouldn't it? People be using sugar again, then, wouldn't they? So, speaking of sugar, so, see, going around in circles like Dale Earnhardt, huh? So, oh, careful. Hans and Franz, never mind. Where to pump you up. All right, what time we got here? Got anything for me before we get out of here? I can sit here and talk about silver all night, but yeah, whatever. You'll probably talk about the word. You won't talk about silver. Well, have to. Apologies for my outburst. It just happens. It's been known to start talking about Jesus. Oh, no. Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Which Jesus do you speak of? So, but what an interesting time. History made today, record highs for silver. Gold's doing the same thing. Gold miners and silver miners are lagging a little bit behind, but they're starting to make a little bit of a move. Lots shaking in the markets. You know what I'm saying? Interesting time. I'm hoping, again, all these people who bought in at 12 and 13 and 15 or have an idea where their price point's at so they can take some profit. I don't think we've even personally come anywhere close to the top of what the price of silver will be. So it's never wrong to pull profit. So if you're one of these people who thinks you're watching ratio, then you probably wouldn't pull out of this market right now, would you? Got a long way to go. I might think about it at 15-1 ratio, 15-1. That's the ratio it's always been historically. So until it goes back to its historical norm, I wouldn't even think about it at that point. And at 15-1, that's going to push silver probably well over $500 an ounce. I think it could get 5,000 because I think it could be 1-1 with gold and silver. They were worth the same in the 12th century. So I keep feeding you this information, but remember, I can't make people, I've been telling you guys this on this platform here for a dozen years about this shiny dirt, and why I'm a silver bug. I like silver. Gold's not my thing. So it's okay. Everybody has their thing. Gold's an amazing metal. It really is. It's great store value. You can have a lot of silver in a small place right now, but that could change as silver and gold, the ratio gets closer to closer. The silver just keeps getting lighter and lighter, doesn't it? Because they say silver's so heavy, but I bet you if silver were 1-1, people wouldn't be bitching about the price of how heavy it was, would they? Even 15-1. At 50-1 compared to 100-1, it's starting to feel a lot lighter, isn't it? Oh, silver is so heavy. Well, watch when the price of it goes up. It won't be so heavy anymore, will it? So watch that too, brothers, sisters. Watch that happen. You'll be able to be a witness here with me as long as we keep this ministry up. Forget about the price. If you can't buy it because it's too expensive at $130 an ounce just to get in to 1 ounce, you're going to be priced out at 300. Then it's going to be unaffordium. That stage is almost here already, unaffordium. It is. Some of these actual companies that sell lean silver at this point, like coin shops, are a little hesitant to buy it because they're not sure if the price is going to come back down. So interesting times. Okay, so it's not as easy to sell as people think right now too. So you got to pay attention. That's why I've been telling you to have a good exit strategy out of the market. Hopefully you'd never want to trade it back for dollars. You trade it back for a house or a horse or a motorcycle or a truck, or that pool you always wanted installed, or whatever, something that you could physical. Never sell your whole stack. I'm not giving any financial advice, but you never get rid of your whole stack. Hold some back, even a couple pieces if you can. Don't ever get rid of your whole stack. You should do it more in stages. Like I said, I probably exit the market right now as soon as I know I could buy that building and put this property on the grid. So it doesn't matter the price, or at this point ratio, I'm going to probably think it's going to have to be about 20 to 1. So it could come down quickly though, and I think that's when I'd be able to exit, and I'd like to exit at 15. So because that's the historic, and I think it could go way 8 to 1 is the ratio of God's ratio that comes out of the ground. Every 1 ounce of gold, 8 ounces of silver come up with it. So that's God's ratio. We can only have 8 ounces of silver. If everybody was divided the surface silver, everybody gets 8 ounces. So if you got 9 ounces, you've got somebody's ounce of silver. So there's only so much on this rock, and that's what's getting smaller and smaller, is that deficit, the demand for silver in industry. And actually, I think the markets are starting to a little bit come alive with some of the general public going, hey, outside of America, absolutely. It's wild if you're not inside this country. More Americas, north and south, or, more northern, but South America, Asia's, Europe, all the, over there, even in, India and Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia, we had somebody, from there. It's the markets are alive. People want this. They know it's always been money, and they're going to go back to it and tired of the U.S. coming around and stomping everybody. And now our dollar is not worth so much. We're not that, we haven't won a war since World War II. We lost Vietnam. Remember, Persian Gulf, Desert Storm, Desert Shield. Wars. We're not this badass that we can kidnap presidents and stuff using Terminators. But, I don't know, brothers, sisters, like I said, I don't do karma. I think sooner or later these things are going to come back to bite us in the what. What goes around comes around. So you don't keep stomping everybody with 1,000+ military bases in all 180 countries like 100 years and think that's not going to come back to bite you. So ask yourself right now, what would Christ do? What would the Hamashiach do right now? So if you do right, the measure you pour out will be returned on you. So judge that shall be judged. Use righteous judgment when you're out there. Okay. So hopefully you discern everything I'm showing you in here, everything I'm saying when it comes to scripture. And again, I'm not giving any financial advice, but this is a pretty amazing time to be a witness what's going on in these gold and silver markets. Remember, gold and silver are money. Currency is not, in order to be money, it has to be tangible. It actually has to be a physical, it has to be dividable to be able to make change, and it has to store value. Paper currencies do not do that. There's been over 4,000. The Chinese were the first ones with the inception of a paper currency, and they've all gone to zero. Their inherent value of nothing. The paper they're printed on, the only ones that haven't sank are the ones that are currently floating around in circulation. So that will happen. I don't think we have too much longer again, because everybody's ditching the dollar. So I would recommend, if you were invested at one point in time and you can pull some profit, do something you want, this would be a bad time to pull some profit out. So hopefully again we'll continue to see some price action like this in the markets, because it's been good. It's been stale for like 20 years, the markets, and they've been telling people like myself and Silver's like gold is a channel people, silver bugs that, and gold bugs that were crazy. When Bitcoin can hit 114,000 for one Bitcoin, how can a piece of silver or gold not be $114,000? You're telling me a 0 and a 1 on a computer could be 114, and the whole has faith that that physical asset can't be 114,000? You tell me. So, $1,000 days, huh? Will that ever happen? Who knows? All right. I'm going to get off here, you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, morning. If you're one of those people where somebody died and you're having a wake, wherever you're on this rock, and links are in the description if you want to support the ministry through Cash App or PayPal. Not required to be part of the ministry. Time is something you can't get back when you spend it here. So more valuable than any donations that are given to the ministry. So thanks for the regular donation or fuzzy booger. You know who you are. So thanks for that. Hey, it's their business on what their tithe is. So I'm not giving their name, but they go by fuzzy booger, so they know who they are. So love you, brothers, sisters, in the narrow way. Appreciate, again, the family coming in here, being able to share my time with you guys and share the gospel. What an interesting time to be alive. Revelation means to lift off, to raise, to pull off. Here we are, brothers, sisters. These markets are showing you exactly the time we're living, isn't it? Revelation, to reveal. Here's the, the aletheia, the truth of the matter. It's always been God's money, and he wants us to be refined like gold and silver. So let him put you in the fire. It's going to be a long, fiery trials until we burn off all these impurities, and then you'll shine like you're supposed to. Not pride, because that's shine above others. He said, put that light at the top of your house. So again, thanks for letting me share this apocalypse with you. We are in those exact yods in that exact book right now. So what an amazing time it is to be a witness. Don't miss these celestial markers he's been leaving for quite some time, and so pay attention. There's a clock up above your head. Know what time it is, because you're supposed to be ready and have your lamps trim and have extra oil and be girded in my service, because nobody knows the day or the hour. He says, I come quickly like a thief in the night. Revelation 3:11. Let no one take your crown. You have to have a crown to set at the feet of Shiloh if you want your inheritance. Narrow is the way. That's the only way, brothers, sisters. He said, I am Hados. I am the narrow way. So let him narrow you. Let him beat this self out of you. Let him beat the earthly things. Let him be your master. Remember, he's steering the ship. So, all right. Thank you again, Pastor Apocalypse. Whoa.